has left the location where peace talks had been taking place today. According to Iranian state media, Switzerland was playing host to a four-way meeting, which had included Vice President J.D. Vance, as well as representatives from Pakistan and Qatar. ABC News foreign correspondent Tom Soufi-Burridge has what Iran had been pushing for.
The Iranians are saying that they won't get into the more substantial, complicated talks on the future of their nuclear program and the more comprehensive deal unless the commitments signed in that memorandum of understanding less than 4 days ago by President Trump are actually adhered to first of all.
Evacuation orders are in effect in Utah as two major wildfires burn there. The larger Iron Fire has already burned 13,000 acres and is 0% contained. Meanwhile, East Los Angeles also dealing with evacuations as a fire at a cold storage facility continues to burn. This is ABC News.
Julian Gray Associates has the most certified elder law attorneys of any law firm in the nation, right here in Pittsburgh. They also have experienced social workers so that you can prepare a plan to age with dignity that you can afford. Visit grayelderlaw.com.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2026 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Partly sunny this afternoon, the high 77. Mostly cloudy tonight with rain and a thunderstorm later on, low 61. Mostly cloudy, humid tomorrow. A few showers and a thunderstorm, high 74. And then lower humidity Tuesday, high 77. For AccuWeather, I'm John Feerick, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, it's the weekend, and it's a great one, but I'll be back Monday. Can't wait. 2 to 6 right here. Colin Dunlap.
When you get a diagnosis of Parkinson's disease, things get real.
And nobody understands that better than the Parkinson's Foundation. All across the country, we provide resources and support in the fight against Parkinson's, a neurological disease that affects movement.
The Parkinson's Foundation is dedicated to improving care and advancing research towards a cure.
And when you call our helpline, you'll speak to a real person who can help you find the right information. Because while living with Parkinson's can be challenging, there are things you can do to improve your quality of life. So, whether you're newly diagnosed, have been living with Parkinson's for years, or caring for a loved one,
when Parkinson's gets real, find real answers at the Parkinson's Foundation.
Go to parkinson.org or call our helpline at 1-800-4PD-INFO, 1-800-473-4636. The Parkinson's Foundation. Better lives together.
When you need to know, depend on the news leader. At home, in your car, or at work. The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM, AM 1020, and KDKA-radio.com.
All right, 866-391-1020. Getting back to the phone lines. I'll get into Father's Day eventually. But I want to get back to the phone lines. Cynthia in Florida. You're on KDK.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, I do want to talk about Father's Day. I miss my dad every day. He died in 2001. He went to the Battle of Seattle with me. I mean, I told you he was a freedom rider. He was a fighter to the end. But I think it was Ross talking about mothers, too. My mother was also a fighter. And I lost her last Sunday.
Last Sunday?
And, yes.
Cynthia, I'm so sorry to hear that. I am so sorry.
But she went out making me laugh. But I think about the memories of her. When I was a child, we didn't watch television. But I happened to see this Lassie series at a neighbor's house. And my mother, I came home crying because of Lassie. My mother said, pull yourself together. Lassie has nothing to do with your life. I was, she raised me to be tough. And she actually was talking to my father before she died. When I had hospice people coming into the house to help me, and they said they do that. And she said, I'm ready to go to be with your dad. So they are together in heaven right now. And I am at peace with this. I miss them both.
Yeah, two things can be true, Cynthia. You can absolutely miss them and be like, yeah, but you know what I mean. And just since you're sharing, I'm going to share. I mean, I tell people this all the time about my mom, who has been gone 20 years this December, which is just really shocking to be able to say. But I tell people all the time, do I miss my mother? Yes. Do I wish her to be here on earth and not in heaven with the greatest love that ever existed? No. I'd rather her be with God, but it doesn't mean I don't miss her.
Me too.
You know what I mean? I could hear in your voice that you get that, and people, they don't understand how it even hurts to say that, because it's like it sounds, it both sounds like you don't want them there. Obviously you do, but the flip side is it's like, they're with God, and they're I mean, in the case of your mom, she's with your dad. I mean, it's like, okay, she's with God and with her soulmate, but what else? Lord and Savior. Bingo. So I mean, it's I understand in many regards how you feel. I'm sorry that you have to navigate the complexity of the feelings, but unfortunately, as you well know, Cynthia, that's part of love. Love brings about these complex feelings when these things happen.
My mom was 97 and lived a wonderful life. And I'm blessed that she passed here with me, which is what I always wanted to happen. And she did.
Well, Cynthia, I appreciate you sharing that. I wish there was more I can do for you, honestly. I wish there was more I can do for you. But
the Lord is good. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
God is good all the time. God bless you. You know you got friends here and family here at News Radio KDK. My mother has been gone for 20 years, and the complexity of what Cynthia, and I have to imagine others, some of you may be going through at 866-391-1020 on Father's Day. You might be going through those feelings on Father's Day. I have friends that have lost their dad. My dad is still around, and I just talked to him earlier today. My son-in-law is just became a dad 8 days ago for the second time. I mean, he was a dad, but, baby was born on the 13th. So having that wonderful experience and now being able to put two kids in his arms, it's a really cool experience, but there's always obviously two sides to that. There's also the missing of a father. I know his dad is no longer with us, and so I'm sure that he, is feeling the joy of having two kids, but also that little bit of pang that Cynthia is going through and others are going through. So, Father's Day is one of those days to reflect. I know that we often talk to my favorite pastor, the Reverend Dr. Jerry Grimes. His dad passed away 2 years ago. So I know he's celebrating the joy of being a father himself, but also going through that. These days also bring about a lot of complexities of emotion and thought. So Cynthia, I appreciate the appreciate not only your willingness to allow us to reflect upon that, but I also appreciate your willingness to be vulnerable in this moment. And I wish you grace and peace as much as possible in this moment. In the meanwhile, let me go back to the phone lines, 866-391-1020. George and Clareton, happy Father's Day. You're on KDKA.
Hey, my man, what's up, Lenny? I was pretty heavy duty with Cynthia, and I know where she's coming from because it was bittersweet with my father, and when he passed away, it was in '89, but I had a daughter, same hospital, same everything. She was born that day, and my dad passed away.
That day?
Yes. McKeesport Hospital, 2/17/89, and it was a planned C-section then. So I was back in school, and I was I was freelancing my little bio degree with a lot of the nursing students, and I was saying, I'll be back. We're planned for surgery at 6:30. I was like cock of the walk, I'll be back at 10 for our quiz, and the whole bit. Well, guess what? I didn't come back till Tuesday.
Wow.
My dad was doing bad. He had a type of leukemia since '75. He was published in the journal, American Medical Association magazines, the journal, with his doctors. I mean, it was a learning experience, and that's how I always go. Time, especially February is an ugly month. Man.
Yeah, that wow. I mean, that going through those two emotions had to have been something. I went through not something quite as traumatic, but I did go through when I was 18. I was in the same hospital, and this is something that really related to my dad. I was in the same hospital that my late grandmother was in, and I was getting a tonsillectomy after my freshman year. I mean, I got so sick my freshman year that I couldn't even pitch. I ended up redshirting, which wasn't really a technical redshirt, but I took off the rest of the year freshman year, and I was in the same hospital where my grandmother passed away from cancer. I got my tonsillectomy on Friday. I woke up the following morning, and she was gone. And, I can only imagine what that was like for you. It wasn't, my dad went through something, but I mean, tonsillectomy is not the same as, having a newborn child and having a parent pass away on the same day. Wow.
Yeah, so he had passed away first, and there was no really technology in those days. I drove us down the old River Road, and it was such a rainy morning. It was actually about 50 degrees and raining, and it dropped all day to like in the teens and in the evening. But by the time we got there, probably was 3 or 4, just getting their way ahead for C-section surgery, 6:30. Now, the page recognized our name after they worked on my dad for hours. And I was a little bit perturbed why they did that long. But because he was in pain and like he was just, the details would be his spleen was just so swelled from all the blood cells, the wind up reservoir in there. But they wanted to really try to make a go with him. But then they realized that was us. We were there for something else, and we could have postponed the C-section. Hey, but if it's supposed to be, it's supposed to be. It's like the Alpha and the Omega. Like they say in the Bible. The beginning, end, and so on and so forth. I was calling a little later at one point to give you a little pop culture tune that went along with how you started your Sunday show last week. Remember how you started it? You were talking about your family and your daughter and your son-in-law, I guess grandkids. And you said all black family, all this and that. You said, I don't want to get racial about it, but there's a song that came to my head. I don't know who did it, and it was around 69 or 70. You may not even know it. They used to play it on Whammo, and it was To Be Young, Gifted, and Black.
I know
and
the
that's
song.
a fact. Do you?
I know the song. My parents raised me right, George. I don't know who sang it, and I haven't heard it in a long time, but,
You're a Penn Hills bro,
It just is what it is. My folks, as I've said repeatedly, my folks went to Westinghouse, so there were certain things they weren't going to lose, going to Penn Hills or not. So, it just is what it is. It's kind of what's baked into the cake. But, it's, the funny thing, and I will say this, and I'll hand the baton back to you before I let you go, George, is the fact that I will talk a little bit about black fatherhood today, but I don't do that in a sense, and you'll see where I'm going to hand you the baton. I don't do that in the sense of disparaging any other father, because I would like to think that, again, it's kind of like what we were saying about mothers and fathers being equal but being different. I would like to think that it's much the same with different types of fathers across different cultures. That they're equal. They have an equal impact on their families, but indeed, they're different, and the roles that they're in, or the tones that they take, or things along those lines.
Yeah, interesting. It transcends all social lines, but there's always some little niches there, you know?
Exactly. Well, George,
I'm looking forward to going on with it and hearing your show.
I thank you, kind sir. You enjoy the rest of your Father's Day. Thank you for calling in. And of course, thank you, Cynthia, as well. Ralph, I'll get to you in a second. 866-391-1020. I'm going to tell you right now, y'all. I won't be mad if we talk about these type of things for 4 hours. I know that you all think that I am very much, Joe Politico and have all these different things going on, and I do. I do have the book, A Venn Diagram of One. I will talk about that a little bit because part of what I talk about in the book are my parents. I do talk about my parents and my dad's impact on me, my mother's impact on me. And really, in the book, part of what I talk about is, black kids from the eastern part of the city of Pittsburgh are not generally people that you think of as, all-American stories. That's not how people generally would frame them. But if you look at what they went through and how they overcame and how they allowed my siblings and me to overcome, it's very American. But I mentioned this in the book, you can say that about Italian-American fathers, Irish-American fathers, German-American fathers, Ukrainian-American fathers, Jewish-American fathers, Latino-American fathers, Asian-American fathers, doing different things, going through different challenges, still having that same value, just in different ways. It looks different, literally and figuratively. I'm not trying to do the double entendre, but, it's there. We have physical differences. But from a love perspective, a parenthood perspective, dare I say spiritual perspective, and spiritual is bigger than religious, there's an equality in it that I would not mind talking about that for 4 hours if you want to. 866-391-1020. I know there are political things you want to get to. I don't mind getting to the political things. But it's okay to take a step back and think about why we do the politics. We do the politics for family, for community, for culture. The politics exists for the culture. The culture doesn't exist for the politics. Maybe a day like today is a good day to just kind of be reminded of that. Then meanwhile, I'll get to Ralph and others at 866-391-1020, but I'm going to do that after the break here on News Radio KDKA.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Hey, folks, my friends at NASCO Roofing take pride in exceeding customer expectations. Scott from Aspinwall was amazed at NASCO's quality, honesty, work ethic, and superior craftsmanship. Scott loved working with NASCO and appreciated that NASCO doesn't use high-pressure sales tactics like other companies. NASCO has satisfied thousands like Scott. Get NASCO on your roof. Call NASCO Roofing, 412-373-2000, 412-373-2000. Most jobs done in a day. Special financing available. NASCO Roofing, NASCO.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-746-3737. That's 800-746-3737. 800-746-3737.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
All right. Like I said, I'm going to go back to the phone lines, 866-391-1020. We can go. I know some things have happened with the agreement. I know some things have opened and closed in the Strait of Hormuz. We can do that too. But it's Father's Day, number one. Number two, there are some reflections that come with that, number two. And it's already taken me to 1990. It's taken me to 2006. It's taken me to 2026. And what I've written about in this book, A Venn Diagram of One, which, of course, you can go to lennymcallister.com and pre-order. And look, you'll get the book if you do that before I go to Ralph. If you pre-order it, the book, you'll have the book the first day it launches. Now, of course, you can go to Barnes & Noble, and they will have it available at Target.com and Walmart.com and Books A Million and everything else. But if you pre-order, it's good, helps me, makes my distributor feel really happy, makes my imprint really happy, and you can have it day one. So that said, part of the reason why it kind of kept me thinking about, the book, bringing that up, is because it's not so much selling the book. It's because of some of the themes I talk about. I do talk about fatherhood from my dad's perspective, from my perspective, from seeing other fathers. It's parenthood, if you do it right in America, provides the opportunity for your kids to be able to hunt for good opportunities and make the most of them, and even optimize bad opportunities, which is more important in America. If you can optimize bad opportunities in America, you can get to the better opportunities. That matters too. So, talking about parents, because parents help you navigate what to do and how to do that. And that matters. Being able to work through that matters. And on days like Father's Day, as we did in May, you get an opportunity to reflect upon the people that were the biggest teachers of those lessons, if you will. So anywho, 866-391-1020. Ralph in the city of Pittsburgh. Happy Father's Day. You're on KDKA.
Yeah, likewise to you, Lenny, and also congrats on your book.
Thank you.
The main reason I called today was Father's Day is kind of rough for me. My father passed away in 2023, but the issue here is he passed away and his current wife at the time refused to inform me that he passed away. I had to find out. My mom looked up the obituary and found out that he passed.
Oh.
And, yeah, that was tough. And what had happened was, Lenny, my father, when I would call him and I would leave a message on his voicemail, he'd call me back immediately or within a day or two. This was 2 weeks, Lenny. 2 weeks that went by and I didn't hear from him. I called him in June 2 times, once to wish him a happy birthday because his birthday's in June, and second, to wish him a happy Father's Day. And I was trying to do both at the same time, and for 2 weeks I couldn't get a hold of him. So my mom says, I wonder if he passed and nobody told you. And here that was correct. She found the obituary. And to this day, I still can't find his current wife to confront her and find out what happened. So,
When, how old was your father, if I may ask?
79.
Yeah. First of all, Ralph, I am sorry that you went through that experience. I when I talk about being a Venn diagram of one, part of that is having a whole bunch of experiences that I can relate to in some regards, good, bad, or indifferent. And in this instance, I have a buddy of mine who was a dad and a granddad that passed away. And, you know, in fact, I have two buddies. Hate to say it like that. Both of them were pretty important to me as mentors. And to this day, I mean, we found out kind of after the fact that they passed away. There were family members of theirs that still didn't get all the facts in regards to what happened. It was kind of sudden. It was unexpected. I mean, they had illnesses, but not illnesses that would have you go from, 80% health to no longer on the planet. And, to this day, I mean, one of them passed away in 2015. To this day, there are still questions. The other one.
Sorry to hear that.
The other one, and I talk about this one, is he's the godfather to my two younger children. And, to this day, we kind of know, but kind of don't. And there are some family members that know more than other family members. And it just, I wish I could say I can't relate to that level of complexity. I mean, I talked about Cynthia's complexity. This is another one. Ralph, it wasn't my dad, so I can't say I can relate to you one-to-one, but can I relate to how you feel in some form or fashion? Yes. But those two individuals they were mentors to me. They were like, not necessarily bigger brothers, but they were certainly people that I looked up to, and to kind of get what we got, it's an unresolved feeling, and I'm so sorry, kind sir, that you are going through that, and it hits you all over again on Father's Day.
Well, I appreciate that, Lenny. Thank you. I normally don't share these things, but I thought today would be the appropriate day to share it because,
No, the bottom line is, it's okay to do that. I mean, look, the bottom line is if people are going to call here at 866-391-1020 and they're going to vent about politics, vent about culture, vent about elections, or whatever the case may be, if we're truly bonding, we should be able to also call in here and do that too. That's the whole essence of what being American is all about. That freedom of speech thing, it's supposed to allow us to be tighter and stronger as a culture through both the civic stuff, but also the community stuff. So.
Yeah, exactly. I agree, Lenny, with you on that. I appreciate this time. Thank you.
It's all good, child of God. You have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your Sunday. In the meanwhile, 866-391-1020. Like I said, y'all, I'm not afraid of having these conversations. I know how I usually focus, and I get it. One of the things about the book I would like to think is that it shows that I'm a little bit more complex than just being smart about politics or smart about education or smart about certain public policy. I'd like to think that it shows the complexity of who I am and being able to relate to all different types of people going through all different types of things. So, I'm not a young man anymore. I'm not old, but I'm not young. And no jokes about me not being old. And yeah, there are different things you can relate to. Going to the news, coming back to the phone lines here on News Radio KDKA.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
You served behind the desk.
You served in combat.
You did 4 years and got out.
You were drafted.
You gave 20 years.
You gave exactly what your country needed.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran, and you deserve support.
If you're struggling with life after service, don't wait. Reach out.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Being diagnosed with leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, or one of over 100 other types of blood cancer makes people want more time to do the things they love. That means more time to be artists, prom dates, world travelers, and moms. We are Blood Cancer United, the world's leading organization focused
today in Switzerland between Iran and the U.S. Before that meeting began, which also included representatives from Pakistan and Qatar, Vice President J.D. Vance expressed optimism.
Through diplomacy, through working together
to transform the Middle East, where Iran and the Gulf have been at war with each other, or at least have had very unfriendly relations, where Iran has been a driver of regional instability. Now we see a future where everybody can work together to promote peace and prosperity for everyone.
But today, President Trump posted on social media that if Iran closes the Strait of Hormuz, we'll hit Iran very hard again. Iran indicated it was closing the strait yesterday following Israeli attacks on Lebanon. Lebanese authorities say 126 people have been killed there since Friday in Israeli strikes. U.S. military officials, though, say traffic continues to flow through the Strait of Hormuz. Kareem Sajapour, senior fellow at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, spoke with ABC's This Week earlier today and said America had been offering to unfreeze Iranian assets.
The great challenge that both President Trump and Vice President Vance have is that 4 months ago, they argued this regime is so dangerous we have to bomb them. Now they're arguing that it's changed so profoundly that we can offer them billions of dollars in concessions.
New flash flooding threats from Kansas through Indiana today. In the southern part of Mississippi, officials are reporting that several rivers are cresting at near record levels. Nathan Barrett, the Harrison County District 5 supervisor near the Biloxi River in Mississippi.
I've lived on the Gulf Coast my entire life, and I have never seen the water come up this quick, this high.
Meanwhile, fire crews in Utah are battling dueling wildfires, one of which, the Iron Fire, has already burned through 13,000 acres. You're listening to ABC News.
Hot summer days and high energy bills are on the way. Upgrade your home's old leaky windows this month during Window Nation's Buy 4 Get 4 free sale. Yes, half of your new beautiful energy efficient windows free. Plus no money down and no monthly payments or interest for 2 years. Call now 866-200-8670 or windownation.com. In select markets, trust our family of brands, New South Window and ArmorView. That's 866-200-8670 or windownation.com to book a consultation.
I've been telling you all about the secret war on our cash and the free report you can receive a copy of
the
by
Village at St.
Swiss
Barnabas,
America at
the perfect place for mom.
800-289-2646. I'd also like to encourage you to subscribe to their podcast on YouTube. Just search Swiss America Trading. The podcast can provide you a ton of vital information and financial news in the challenging and uncertain times we're in. Subscribe today. Learn more.
Soldiers and Sailors Memorial Hall and Museum recognizes Pennsylvania's combat veterans who have received medals for gallantry. With this Hall of Valor moment, here's the Education Director of Soldiers and Sailors Memorial Hall and Museum, Tim Neff.
Army Captain William G. Pagonis of Center and Washington Counties was awarded the Silver Star Medal in Vietnam on the 31st of January, 1968. As the boats of Captain Pagonis' company were moving artillery barges through a narrow canal, enemy forces attacked. After receiving word that one of his LCM-8 boats had been hit, Pagonis immediately turned his command boat around and weaved his way through heavy fire to the damaged craft. Calmly issuing instructions to his crews, he was able to get the column moving again. During the entire action, Pagonis remained exposed to hostile fire, directing his boat's gun crews and personally returning fire upon the insurgent force.
Soldiers and Sailors Memorial reflects the valor and heroism that shaped this great country. Consider a tax-deductible donation. For more information, visit soldiersandsailorshall.org.
100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA, covered by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 platinum roofing company.
Life's best moments start with perfect choices. For Connie Nowak, it was a trolley ride and a 67-year love story. A life of family, smart decisions, and companionship with Chester the cat. Her retirement choice, the Village at St. Barnabas. Recreation, healthcare, close to family, everything on her list. Plus, it's an exceptional retirement value with a flexible entry process and affordable rates. St. Barnabas Retirement Communities, stbarnabascommunities.com, or call 724-444-5568.
For 250 years, America has been more than a place. It's been a promise, a story of courage, hope, and dreams. And through it all, local TV and radio broadcasters have been there, telling the story of America, bringing truth to light. Broadcasters tell the story of who we are and who we aspire to be. We are America's storytellers. We are broadcasters. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 platinum preferred roofing replacement contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Clouds and sun this afternoon, high in the upper 70s.
We'll have some rain and a thunderstorm late tonight, low 61. Mostly cloudy tomorrow. A few showers and a thunderstorm, I-74. Then less humid Tuesday, partly sunny, I-77. For AccuWeather, I'm John Feerick, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
Like I said, I'll go back to the phone lines, 866-391-1020. Here's the other thing, too. I'd like to think, and I could be wrong, you all can tell me, but generally speaking, Father's Day, from what I have experienced talking to folks, sometimes there's a propensity for feelings around Father's Day to be a little bit more complex. Now I'm going to be happier about Father's Day in a little bit. And I'm happy about Father's Day, don't get me wrong. I mean, how could I not be happy? My family's out of town. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I'm sure that elicits a whole lot of jokes therein. But my point is this. Dads can be a little bit more complex for kids than moms. Moms, generally speaking, kids revere their mom and fear their mom in a different type of way than dad. It's like, Mom would never really, really hurt me. Dad, I don't know. He got that look. And part of it is the voice. I mean, look, moms and dads have different things. They're equal, but not the same. There's nothing like a good dad voice. There's nothing. I know that some of you all will call in here at 866-391-1020 and tell me that, but Mom and my mom, and okay, fine. But you take a really good mom voice that's telling you not to do something, and you take a really good dad voice that's telling you not to do something, and I guarantee you, and it's just how sound works, I guarantee you, the dad voice is just, it's going to hit a little different. There's a reason why back in the day, the old expression was wait until your father gets home was made. It just hits a little different. Not saying it's bad. It's kind of like, the flip side is, and it's all parenting. So don't get into you're saying that women belong in the kitchen. I'm not saying women belong in the kitchen. I'm giving another example of parenthood. Which, by the way, I have real life examples. This will make people laugh that are actually watching the show. Like, for example, Mom can make really good sweetened mashed potatoes. And this is a real story with my older kids. And my wife, been married for a quarter of a century, so quite naturally my kids ain't that old. So they experience this. My wife would make really good sweetened mashed potatoes. Just put a little bit in there, little extra love, so that they would eat them and enjoy them. I figured, anything she can do, I can do better. I'm a man. I'm a dad. Dads can do stuff that moms can do. Watch this. And that's literally, I did all that and just beat my chest a little bit. The 3 hairs that I used to have on my chest fell off, but I digress. I was feeling my masculinity, my fatherhood at that moment. And I went to make those sweetened mashed potatoes. And my wonderful children, probably like at that point in time, like age 10 and 3 or 9 and 3 or something like that, or 10 and 4 or 9 and 3, they almost went into diabetic shock. Because, I mean, number one, I didn't ask for the recipe because, heck, just like asking for directions, what man does that? Number two, I just made them all wrong. And one kid didn't want to eat them because they were just way too sweet. The other kid couldn't get enough. and was very hyper. Do you want some more? Yeah. I was like, oh, calm down. My lovely wife comes home. It was a Saturday afternoon. She was working as a pharmacy tech at the time. She comes home. She asks one kid, did you eat some of the potatoes? One kid goes, no. She asked the other kid, who's bouncing off the walls, why did you eat all the potatoes? All that individual could say is, yeah. No real answer. And then, because she's a woman and she's smart, and she's a mom, again, moms, dads, different but equal, she knew that something was askew. She dipped one small fork into the potatoes, and she herself almost went into diabetic shock and said, how did you make these? And we went through all that. And, of course, the kids laughed at me, and she laughed at me. And to this day, if any of those kids are listening to this story, they're probably still laughing right now. And if my wife's listening to the story, she's still laughing right now. And this happened 25 years ago, or 22 years ago, 22 to 23 years ago, in another state. That said, my point is, there are certain things that moms just do better. It's not just cooking. Sometimes dad's the better cook. Sometimes mom's the better disciplinarian. All I'm talking about is the voice. You get a good mom voice, you get a good dad voice. The dad voice is going to win, generally speaking. There are other things that mom's just going to do and the kid's just going to get to. I think, generally speaking, moms are probably better at giving that first boost of confidence faster, especially with boys. Especially, I would think, again, this kind of goes back into the dad coach thing. The dude that has you shooting extra foul shots at the end of practice because you missed 3 foul shots in the last game ain't the person you want to hug up on when you get home. Ain't the person you're looking to when you need a little extra boost of confidence when you're 9 years old. It's usually mom. I'm not saying dad can't do it or dad doesn't do it. I like to think that I can do it. But generally speaking, dad just has that way, generally speaking. And I think culturally it kind of changes from one to another as well. And it's cool. And one of the things I would not mind doing here at 866-391-1020, and I see Phil, I'm going to wait until after the break because I don't want to cut you off, sir. It's good to hear from you because you got some things to report to me, by the way. I sent you an email over 2 weeks ago. So don't go nowhere. That said, you know, there's just, they're again, just like with the men and the women, the moms and the dads, I'd like to think, and I'm willing to explore it and hear it, that over cultures, dads are just kind of received and viewed a little differently. And it kind of I actually got a path to go down with that now I think about that. And I'll get to that in a little bit. But, you know, I'm going to talk a little bit about the value of being an African-American father in modern-day America, because it matters. I'm not disparaging other fathers, so if you want to call in and tell me about your Polish-American dad, I don't care. Do that. 866-391-1020. Tell me about what you think is unique and what he got off your grandpap or whatever. That's fine, too. I'm not saying don't do that. All I'm saying is I know specifically that in modern America that there's a uniqueness to being a black father that I embraced ever since I was a father. I'm never walking away from that, and I've put a lot on the line for that. And I'm certain that there are other fathers that did the same thing, whether it was taking odd jobs that they didn't want to take or other things that they worked through with the inconveniences of life that we all go through, men and women alike. But like I said, I don't want to disparage other dads from other cultures today just because I feel a certain way on a day like today. So I just want to throw that out there. In the meanwhile, 866-391-1020. I'm going to go to break now. I'm going to get to Phil afterwards. So don't go nowhere, Phil. Others, I'll take your calls after the break here on News Radio KDKA.
You to know a home looks really beautiful from the outside. You want the same thing anyway. Hi, this is Larry Richard for CertaPro Painters, which, by the way, each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. You're dealing with the owners. Now, there's no reason to procrastinate. All you have to do is get the professionals to do the job right from the start. And all you need to do is schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
Heart disease is the leading cause of death in the United States. So when it comes to your heart, there's no room for compromise. At UPMC Heart and Vascular Institute, innovation, technology, and world-class expertise come together to treat the most complex heart cases, redefining what's possible for patients who need it most. Getting your heart checked can save your life. Schedule your appointment with the region's leader at upmc.com/heart.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Join Beth Andrews for the Net Worth Financial Hour Saturdays at 1 to get the news and information you need to make your retirement dream a reality. That's the Net Worth Financial Hour with Beth Andrews, Saturdays at 1. Net Worth Advisors, LLC is a registered investment advisor.
Ms. Fernandez, what are those tiny things?
Those are what we call amoebas. You can only see them through a microscope.
Wow.
Today's students are tomorrow's great thinkers and innovators. But right now, there's a funding crisis in public schools. Millions of kids go to schools that don't have funding for books, computers, and so much more just because of where they live. You can help change that. Donors Choose is a nonprofit that lets you support students and teachers in your community and beyond. You choose which supplies to support. You could provide first graders with pencils and paper, or other students with their first chapter books, help a music class get a guitar.
You could even supply a classroom like mine with a science project. But what you're really giving is the moment that sparks a brighter tomorrow.
To learn more, please visit DonorsChoose.org. That's DonorsChoose.org. Choose students. Shape the future.
When you get a diagnosis of Parkinson's disease, things get real.
And nobody understands that better than the Parkinson's Foundation. All across the country, we provide resources and support in the fight against Parkinson's, a neurological disease that affects movement.
The Parkinson's Foundation is dedicated to improving care and advancing research towards a cure.
And when you call our helpline, you'll speak to a real person who can help you find the right information. Because while living with Parkinson's can be challenging, there are things you can do to improve your quality of life. So, whether you're newly diagnosed, have been living with Parkinson's for years, or caring for a loved one,
when Parkinson's gets real, find real answers at the Parkinson's Foundation.
Go to parkinson.org or call our helpline at 1-800-4PD-INFO, 1-800-473-4636. The Parkinson's Foundation. Better lives together.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
All right, going back to the phone lines, 866-391-1020. Phil in Homewood, you're on KDKA. Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day, sir.
Likewise to you, kind sir.
I apologize. I didn't see your email. I was looking for a text or something.
No, I literally, it's all good. I literally sent you an email during the commercial break from my phone saying, this is me, and hit me up and let me know when you want me to come down. Let me know when you gathered folks up, and I'll be glad to come on down. And you said, hey, I want somebody to talk to these kids and let's problem solve. And I said, I'm down for it. And I literally, we went to commercial break, and I literally sent you. When you look, if you don't see it, look in your spam. It's not a soliloquy, even though people that know me knows I can send those in emails. This was not that. This was just, hey Phil, I'm about that life. Hit me up. So, yeah.
Okay, well, if you send it again, you are a man of your word. If you send it again, I'll be sure to look out for it.
So this is what I'm going to do. But after you get done making your point, I'm going to put you on hold. I'm going to ask Ryan to get – because the notebook I have right now does not have your – oh, wait a minute. Oh. No, this isn't it. This is another one. I thought I had the notebook that had your information in it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put you on hold, and he's going to get your phone number because I do believe – not to tip it off, but I think there is and I'm going to mix up the numbers on purpose. I do believe there's a 9, a 6, and a 5 somewhere in your phone number, correct?
No, sir.
Well, I'm going to say it the right way then. I thought it was 5. I thought it was a 596. I was mixing it up on purpose. You gave a cell phone number and an email.
There's a 5.
Yeah, I thought it started with a 5. So that said, I'm going to put you on hold. Not now, but I'm going to put you on hold. Ryan will get it, and if you're looking for a text, I will text you. Is that cool?
So I just wanted to start. Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to start off on a lighter note. I was driving around the city today doing various things after church. I don't see any of those U-Haul trucks in the gas station offering father good, stuffed animals or ties or nothing like that, like you see on Mother's Day. So I just what a laugh for the dad.
We like flowers too. But nobody.
Yeah, we like flowers too.
Nobody tries to get us $20 flowers at the last minute, but that's okay. We see what y'all do. You're right.
Man, I eat candy too. But
exactly.
That's right. They're having a nice event up here at the East Hills Giant Eagle. There's a really nice event up here going on. But I called to say this, that
no, hold on. Before you make your point, and I may even hold you after the break, Phil. So you screwed me up. You said the East Hills Giant Eagle, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so for old school folks like you and me, when you say East Hills Giant Eagle, the only East Hills Giant Eagle I think of is the one that was in the old East Hills Shopping Center. I know where you're talking about now. You're talking about Get-Go and that Giant Eagle. That, to me, that's still food land. But the Giant Eagle, think...
come on, man.
So, again, for all of you out there that continuously tell me, no, you're from Chicago, you're not really from Pittsburgh or from Penn Hills, there you go. If I can quote the Giant Eagle in the East Hills Shopping Center that was right down the road from the Goodyear that used to also be there. That was Firestone. That used to be there.
On the corner.
So everybody stop it. And then, of course, used to be a KFC and a McDonald's up there, but we won't even go into Zares. I digress. I threw it out there. Now, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, Phil.
Okay, so anyway, my father was in the military, so I didn't know him when I was really young. And then the only memories I have of him when I was young is maybe once in a while. But anyway, when I got around 12 or 13 years old, my mother decided it was time for me to go live with my dad.
Okay.
Who lived in the neighborhood. It wasn't that far. My dad was really sickly, though, from the military. My father had to prepare the bodies to come back from the Korean War.
Wow.
And the chemicals leached into his system. And it tore up his insides, and he was sick. And I took care of my dad, too, since I was 14. But anyway, she sent me to go live with him so he could teach me how to be a man. Because she said, after I found out, just a few years, later on in conversation, she didn't think that she was qualified to teach me those things, and he was. And my father was a military man, like I said, and he was very wise. He was well-read. My father got a real estate license. He was studying law correspondence courses. And he taught me a great many things about life that I know that she could not do but she did her best. But she made a wise decision in my eyes to send me to go live with my dad. So now that's why I'm so determined to help these boys out here that don't have any fathers in their life, and just to get them to know that there's some older gentlemen or some grown folks who really care about them and put them on the right path in the right direction. And that's why I'm so glad to hear that you're going to come on side of me and we can go down there. But I'm finding that there's really no spots out here where they hang out. And so now the school's out, the Larimer Avenue Playground would be a good spot to gather.
I mean, we can do that. We can, ideally, what I would love to do is go someplace where we can feed folks. So we can go down to Rashard Birdsong's place or other places.
I know where that is.
Yeah, I know you do. I mean, everybody in Homewood does. We can go someplace where people can get food and talk and go from there. I know that Sheldon Oliver of Nobleman, who, by the way, is part of the Mark Drive family, he's done that before in Homewood with several other community leaders. Vernon Alexander is one of them. That they find spaces where young folks can eat and talk and just take their time in doing that. So that, I mean, ideally, Phil, that's what I would prefer to do. Someplace where we just get a couple of pizzas. I know that Sheldon got a pizzeria down there. We just order like 5 pizzas, 6 pizzas, whatever, depending on who comes. And then we just talk. And then what we can do from there is subsequently gather information to put solutions in place. Because I think part of what transpires is they get a chance to talk from time to time. They don't see people putting real solutions in place. And I mean more than just community centers. I'm talking about they want to be able to work. They want to be able to buy a house. They don't want to buy one car. They want to be able to buy like 5 cars over the course of the next, 12 years, 15 years. They don't want to just buy a tiny apartment or a tiny house. They want to be able to build on their house. So you got to build those solutions as well. So that's part of where my focus is, not just the thing that, that stops the violence. We need to do that. But they need to be able to build the next 15 to 30 years of their lives. So that's what they need to be able to see as well.
And that's what I'm talking about, instilling longevity in these children, because some of these children don't think they're going to live past 20.
Bingo. And we got to show them that they're wrong.
We have to do that.
We got to show them that they're wrong.
Hey, here I am. I'm living proof.
Exactly.
I'm 70 years old now. Came through all that madness and everything, and here I am. So I'll be looking out for that email. God bless you. Thank you. No, you have a great Father's
You
Day.
too. God bless. Don't go nowhere, Phil. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put you on hold. You're on hold now. When we go to break, give Ryan the information again. And what I will do is during one of these commercial breaks, I'll text you. And we'll go from there. In the meanwhile, others, I ain't going to do that with y'all, all of y'all, but I'm going to do it with Phil. But I will take your phone calls at 866-391-1020. And I'll catch up to you after the news on the one and only, the award-winning News Radio KDKA.
Hey, I'm Sam.
And I'm Calvin, with Cousins Roofing, Siding, and Decks.
Hey, Calvin, you know that feeling when summer's finally on its way? Everybody's outside, grills are going.
Yeah, but that's when you notice what winter did to your home. The deck boards are warped, the roof's missing shingles, the siding's faded.
That's where we come in. No pressure, no surprises. Just good, honest work so you can enjoy the season that you earned.
We're ready when you are. Call the Cousins.
Cousins Roofing, Siding, and Decks. Call the Cousins.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-746-3737. That's 800-746-3737. 800-746-3737.
From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
I'm Mike Dubusky. A quadrilateral meeting in Switzerland wrapping up that included delegations from the U.S. and Iran, as well as Pakistan and Qatar. It comes as President Trump threatens more military action against Iran after that country indicated it was closing the Strait of Hormuz this weekend.
CENTCOM reporting 55 merchant ships and 17 million barrels of oil traveled through on Saturday. It's still unclear whether that vital waterway is opened. Amid the uncertainty, President Trump declaring the U.S. will not tolerate tolls on ships passing through the strait unless they are imposed by the U.S. if the talks fail. But the signed deal says Iran will allow ships to pass at no charge for 60 days only.
ABC News foreign correspondent Britt Clennett. Iran made that claim after Israel's recent strikes on Lebanon. Flash flooding remains a concern this weekend for a large swath of the central U.S. Yesterday, 9 tornadoes touched down in Kansas. This is ABC News.
The weather is warming up, but so are the savings at Coons Market. Isn't that right, Frank Dentisi?
Right, Rob. In our meat department, tender hand-cut filet mignon is $19.99 a pound. In the produce department, sweet Northwest cherries, $1.98 a pound. In the deli, Boar's Head Friars turkey breast is $10.99 a pound. And additional savings this week, selected varieties of Popsicle Pops, 12 to 18 count packages, $3.99 each.
Coons Market, a Pittsburgh tradition.
In Pittsburgh, Chase is proud to root for the home team because they're our team too. We cheer from the bleachers and on the sidelines. We cheer for gymnasts and quarterbacks. And with more than 25 local Chase branches and 5,000 nationwide, we are right beside you, Pittsburgh. Neighborhood bankers, digital tools, national strength. Chase, make more of what's yours.
JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2026 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
If you dread dealing with your insurance more than you dread yard work, with a swarm of hungry mosquitoes buzzing around, then you might have Insuranoia. You should have NJM Insurance. They go to great lengths to do what's best for their policyholders.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Partly sunny this afternoon, the high 77. Mostly cloudy tonight with rain and a thunderstorm later on, low 61. Mostly cloudy, humid tomorrow. A few showers and a thunderstorm, high 74. And then lower humidity Tuesday, high 77. For AccuWeather, I'm John Feerick, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
So now a couple of things I want to bring up. Number one, I told y'all I would get laughed at about that sweet mashed potato story. I told you that was going to happen. This is why they tell you, this is like a little, flyer that you take before, how to be a radio show host, for people like me anyway. And so, number one of the things it says in the flyer is, do not check your phone during a commercial break. Because there's a chance that you'll say something that your family members will either embarrass you over or get angry about. or they're going to be angry because you've embarrassed them. It's one of those three things usually. I mean, for me, it's just the buckets get filled real fast. And sure enough, I look at my phone, and one of the witnesses from the sweetened, they were supposed to be sweetened mashed potatoes. They were just sweet mashed potatoes. And they weren't necessarily, you almost couldn't even say they were mashed potatoes. It was like sweet mashed potatoes. Because it was like nothing but a whole bunch of sugar in it. The fact that they were potatoes was just like an afterthought. But yeah, I've already gotten one message about, just laughter. And if we were in person, a person would be pointing at me and still laughing. So, number one, it's a true story. By the way, I don't tell false stories. I've been, being the Black Forrest Gump that I am, I have enough stories I don't have to lie about them. So, true story about the mashed potatoes. I truly did that, and I've already heard about it. That's number one. Number two, I want to shout out. I want to make sure it's funny. Another thing I saw on my phone is, my son down in Florida is making a little bit of a habit of having, babies come around right on Father's Day. He's like 2 for 2. Last year, this year. Kids under 1. Now, for those of you that get creeped out, that say, okay, is that your son-in-law or your son? Because if I say my son and my daughter, you are going to be like, huh? What? Listen. Either the people are in your family or they're not. This is I've never done that. They're either in your family or they're not. He's in our family. He's been there for Lord knows forever. Thankful that he is. He is. So you'll hear me interchangeably go father, son-in-law, son-in-love, or son. So knock it off. Especially some of you all out there with the Pittsburgh marriages. And you know what I mean by that. Not that I'm calling you out, but you know what I mean by that when I say Pittsburgh marriages. Not that I cut you a look, but if you're watching on YouTube, I cut you a look. That's it. So I want to congratulate him because he has one that's been home for all of about 8 days or so, and he has one that's been around for, don't ask me to do the math on that. I know it's 365 plus whenever her birthday is, and I know when her birthday is, but I'm just not telling you because you don't need to know. Unless if you're buying gifts. You're not buying gifts? Okay, you don't need to know. I've already told you. Pay attention to the show. Just kidding. It's kind of cool, though. It's kind of cool for them to be able to celebrate Mother's Day and Father's Day. And there's a joy on a Father's Day when you're a grandparent. And the reason why that is, for me, and again, if you disagree, 866-391-1020, or you have something to add, I can't imagine you disagreeing. But for me, when you go through these days as a grandparent, de facto, it means that you're going through it with your kids being a parent. And that's, to me, that's really cool. I mean, I enjoy that. To be able to see them enjoy those days as a mother or a father. I think that's a really cool experience. And that, to me, that's where the joy is with it. It's less about celebrating it as a grandfather. I mean, it's cool to celebrate it as a grandfather, don't get me wrong. But to me, the cooler aspect of it is to see your kids be in those roles as parents. In large part, too, because to see them have joy in those roles is also really cool. So, I mean, for me at this point in time, I mean, Mother's Day is Mother's Day because I still have kids under 17 in a household. I have 2 teenagers, have a wife. Mother's Day, I'm going to celebrate. And it's really multifaceted in that regard because I have a sister, it's a mom, wife, mom, daughter, mom. So it's to be able to watch those different tiers of people you love celebrate today is kind of cool. As a dad, on Father's Day, it's more taking it in. And once you're a grandfather, it is taking it in. It's not necessarily you wanting, like Phil and I were joking about, the U-Haul with the flowers in the back, saying, did you forget your mom last minute? Get these flowers. Retail, they're only worth $5, but for you, because you forgot, we'll sell them to you for $30. Just kind of how that works. So, no. Before I go to break, I also want to shout out all the fathers here at the station. And part of the reason why I want to do that, and I already talked about Marty, but quite naturally, pretty much everybody that I know on the airwaves between the multiple stations. Not everybody, but enough of everybody are fathers. And there are some fathers that have gone through some things as dads. And all these folks are younger than I am. So, that's the other thing. When you go through parenthood as a young person, you face some trials and tribulations. You have some choices to make. One of the fathers that just came to mind for me, again, it's in the book, A Venn Diagram of One, An American Story. You can go to Barnes & Noble. You can go to LennyMcAllister.com, pre-order the book. In print, Frederick Douglass Books, and distributed by Simon & Schuster. One of the fathers I talk about in the book is a guy by the name of Gentry Cassaberry. And he was a father that was going to school, Chicago State University, working full-time as a swing shift manager at McDonald's to work his way through school, and then eventually support his love of his life at the time. And, their in utero son's born prematurely, and he risked his professional career to be at her side and his son's side. Son only lived, I think, not even a full 48 hours. So, but I'll get to more of that after the break. It's just so many different emotions come up as you think about these different things during Father's Day. Anyway, 866-391-1020. Come back after the break here on News Radio KDKA.
When the weather turns bad, turn to us for the best news, weather, and traffic information from the KDKA Radio Storm Center. Presented by Duquesne Light Company. Larger than light. Online and on the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Don't delay in getting that plumbing repair done. Call Palucci Plumbing today for all of your plumbing needs. From trenchless sewer repair and waterline repairs and replacement, hot water tanks, sewer camera inspections, to Pittsburgh potty repairs, no job is too small for Palucci Plumbing. Owners Amy and Nick Palucci have been in business for 26 years, so give them a call for your next plumbing repair or replacement. Palucci Plumbing, 412-782-5050. That's 412-782-5050.
The Pittsburgh Speakers Series at Heinz Hall, presented by University of Pittsburgh, announces its 26-27 season. 7 events to challenge your mind, enlarge your world, and make you laugh. With Anderson Cooper, former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, historian Anne Applebaum, financial journalist Andrew Ross Sorkin, and the former U.S. Ambassador to China, Nicholas Burns. The series is sponsored by News Radio KDKA and the Spanos Group of Raymond James. Tickets on sale now at pittsburghspeakers.org.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand, so shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
Saying, I was talking about Gentry Cassaberry and, the sacrifice that he had to make for his son and the hours of his life. And that's something tragic in and of itself to say, the hours of his life. But even in that moment, you have choices to make as a father. Will you be there with a child that really can't remember you per se, but definitely feels you, definitely understands that you're there, that definitely gets it, if you will. So, I think about somebody like him, and he wasn't that old. He was 21. He was 21 years old. And that's one of the things that, as we reflect upon Father's Day and we think about just what these holidays mean. I mean, Mother's Day in May and Father's Day in June. There's one thing for somebody to donate DNA. There's something else for somebody to donate and give and share and grow love, opportunity, vision, life lessons. Very different. And it doesn't have an age on it. It's very interesting because, there are people that will say, I lived longer than you. I know because I'm older than you. Well, if you're older but you just don't know, then it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter at all. Age doesn't mean wisdom, doesn't mean intelligence, doesn't mean perspective. It just means you've been here longer. And whereas I apply that to everything, and I had a conversation with some folks earlier this week about that whole dynamic, it really does apply to parenthood as well. Because I've seen some really good fathers that are young. They're not that old. And you can tell that they care. You can tell that they're invested. You can tell that they're thinking through the process with where his child is in that moment versus where they could be 2 years, 3 years, 5 years down the road. And you can do that at 42 or at 22 or at 31, whatever the case may be. And that matters. That matters in regards to who a person wants to be as a dad. So, I mean, there's something to be said about the young fathers out there that should be commended on being true fathers, even though they're not the richest, they're not the most established, or anything else along those lines. As a matter of fact, as I'm going through all these things, I didn't expect to have this type of show. I didn't expect to have a show where I would be so reflective on all these different experiences that come to mind as a result of fatherhood, if you will. The first thing I ever did as a volunteer, as a full-fledged ongoing volunteer, is I worked with Malcolm Thomas. Some of you all know him as Menakek. I worked with Malcolm Thomas at the Young Fathers Program, which was a program that they had out of the Hill House Association for fathers, and a trip on the ages, if you will, for fathers between the ages of 15 and 21. Now think about that. 15-year-old father, 16-year-old father. Obviously they exist, they happen. We always focus on the mother, but it wasn't a focus on the father. And I was a volunteer at the Hill House Association's Young Fathers Program. In fact, I still have the bag in my garage. It's a nice bag, by the way. It's like, had a nice design on it. It was black and had a, it's like denim. So it lasted since, I think I started doing the program in 1995, 1996. Somewhere in there. Definitely by 96. It may have been 95. A guy that passed away over the last year, a guy by the name of Don Brown, who I worked with at Mellon Bank, introduced me to the program, introduced me to Malcolm, and we've been family ever since. But anyway, I go back to those experiences with the Young Fathers Program and the investments that we made. Another person that some of you all may know, and again, I'm kind of dropping my, my bona fides of belonging in this community. Ken Owens-L. Some of you all may know throughout the community over the years. Ken Owens-L used to be one of the administrators of the Young Fathers Program, along with Malcolm Thomas. And all affiliated with the Hill House Association. I still remember being in those classrooms at the facility. And Ken Owens-L and Malcolm Thomas and others would be up there. Don Brown would volunteer. That's how I got pulled into it. But to be there for young men, and in this case, they were all African-American men. It's the Hill House Association. That were inclined to be fathers. They wanted to be fathers. And for people that say, well, somebody made them go there. I've seen programs where people make you go someplace and you still do not participate. I see that to this day with young people and adults, by the way. But these young guys were inclined and willing to do what it took to be the fathers that they needed to be as best they could. And again, 17-year-old dad, it's not like you're clocking six figures and, you bought everybody a home that you're all living in together. Obviously, it's a less than ideal situation, but you're trying to teach them. And that was one of the things that we used to do is we would try to teach them how to be as supportive of the mother as possible, how to get along with the mother. I mean, sometimes these were girlfriends, so there's still a relationship there. A lot of times, as you can imagine, these were not the case. These were happy accidents with somebody they had a very casual relationship with. And, now it's everything from I don't see them that much, they don't live around me no more, or, I can't stand. They live they live down the street and I can't stand her. We had to teach them it didn't matter. Got a child involved now. What are you going to do? How do you interact with her and the child? And I want to commend those guys. I don't know where any of those guys are. I know where Gentry is now. Gentry's done well with himself. Last time I heard, he was in France, living a good life over there. Graduated from college, and doing pretty well for himself. The guys that were in the program 30 years ago, I mean, think about it, now they're in their 40s. I have not heard from in years. This was, before I moved to North Carolina, finished up my own degree, stayed in North Carolina, went to the south side of Chicago, then came back. So, different time, different era, obviously. But if they're around and if they're listening, I want to commend them for their willingness to still be fathers. I could not have imagined trying to be a 16-year-old dad, 15-year-old dad, 17-year-old dad. Could not have imagined that. But they were. And I can tell you that it was a small cohort. It wasn't like it was like 100 kids. It was like maybe 12, 13. It's plenty. Don't want a whole bunch of 15-year-old dads running around. But that said, to have them continuously, I mean, every time I was there on Friday, so I worked Monday through Thursday. I had Fridays off. Those guys were there every Friday. Now, what does that mean? Maybe some of them dropped out of high school, so they were trying to work jobs, et cetera. Again, we're not talking about ideal situations. We're talking about 16-year-old fathers. But they were there at 9:30 in the morning, taking classes from us, asking us questions, going through different life skill situations to learn more. They were going to outings with us. We took them to a Cleveland Cavaliers basketball game one time. They played the 76ers. I remember Allen Iverson playing in that game. They were committed. And I guess the reason why I bring that up, and I'll get to more after the break. And again, phone lines are open, 866-391-1020. I bring it up because parenthood is a true choice, motherhood and fatherhood. And it's a choice that is very much needed still. The definitions of it in some ways morph, in some ways stay the same. In some ways have the same confines of what you need to be and how you need to do things. And in other times, it's much different. It looks different. It feels different. The expectations are different. And I brought up the Hill House Association. I brought up those guys that just, if they're still out there and if they happen to be listening at News Radio KDKA, I just want to commend them for being who they wanted to be as a dad, or at least try, be courageous enough to try in a very difficult situation to be what they could be in that moment. And ideally, going through the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, they were able to catch their traction on who they needed to be as men and eventually, obviously, also as fathers. So kudos to the people that helped them, and kudos to them. I'm going to the news. I'll be back after the break on News Radio KDKA.
The Big K Morning Show with Larry Richards.
I'm doing a porch concert in Morningside today where I'm going to be singing. You want a little? You want a sample?
Yes, let's go.
How lucky can one guy be? I kissed her and she kissed me.
Perfect Juneteenth song.
Weekday mornings 5:30 to 10 on the Voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
The Village at St. Barnabas, the perfect place for moms.
This is Michael Bartley. Do you know some third-party vacation rental sites charge extra fees just for using their platform? On a full week stay at a larger vacation home, those fees can be significant. On one real 7-night stay, a guest could have saved $2,800 by booking directly with SWAC Vacations. That's money that stays in your pocket for dinners, groceries, or a few extra experiences on the trip. Visit swacvacations.com and book direct. SWACK Vacations. Same stay, fewer fees.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-746-3737. That's 800-746-3737. 800-746-3737.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh.
I'm Mike Dubusky. In Switzerland, those four-way peace talks aimed at ending the war in Iran wrapped up in about 80 minutes today. ABC News foreign correspondent Tom Sufi Burridge is there.
Vice President J.D. Vance kicking off those, what he says are historic talks at a luxury resort just around the corner from here earlier. And the optics here are absolutely fascinating. So we saw imagery of the Iranian delegation going into the room, but no images of the Iranian delegation meeting with the U.S. delegation and the mediators in these quadrilateral talks, the Qataris and the Pakistanis being the mediators. 2 days of talks, according to Vice President J.D. Vance.
Now President Trump is threatening Iran on social media over the Strait of Hormuz, which Iran threatened to close yesterday following Israel's recent strikes on Lebanon. Those Israeli attacks have put pressure on these negotiations. Mike Huckabee is the U.S. ambassador to Israel and spoke about President Trump's position earlier today.
The one thing that I've always heard him say, always, and that I've always watched him do, is that America has an unbreakable bond with the state of Israel.
Flash flooding threats across the U.S. today. In southern Mississippi, several major rivers are now at record levels. Lewis Lee survived Hurricane Katrina in 2005 and now lives along the Biloxi River. He's one of those who's been forced to leave his home without flood insurance.
Every time you file a claim, all right, next thing you know, they don't do nothing because it wasn't a named storm. And then if you go pay your premium to renew it, they're going up. $742 a month just for flood insurance? Can you afford that every month?
Meanwhile, it's fire that's troubling many in Utah, with the entire town of Eureka having to be evacuated due to the 13,000-acre iron fire that's now burning through that region. You're listening to ABC News.
Is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Brian Schlaba here from the Home Buyers of Pittsburgh, born and raised right here. Since 2015, we've helped over 1,000 Pittsburgh homeowners sell their houses quickly and without the stress. No repairs, cleanouts, inspections, or appraisals. We give fast and fair cash offers. Buy your home as is, and you choose the closing day. Visit homebuyersoftpittsburgh.com or call 412-500-9057. That's 412-500-9057.
Pittsburgh's local trusted homebuyer since 2015.
Clouds and sun this afternoon, high in the upper 70s. We'll have some rain and a thunderstorm late tonight, low 61. Mostly cloudy tomorrow, a few showers and a thunderstorm, I-74. Then less humid Tuesday, partly sunny, I-77. For AccuWeather, I'm John Feerick, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
All right, coming back here, 866-391-1020. Like I said, it's funny because everything's not a trigger. So it's not like when I say people called in and triggered memories, I'm not saying trigger like, oh, triggered. I'm not sitting there shaking underneath the desk. Everything can't be that kind of trigger. Sometimes a triggering item is, it just pops up a memory, like trigger used to mean. So when I say it in that fashion, please take it that way. I've had many of you all call in and trigger memories. For example, how traumatizing can sweetened mashed potatoes be? Don't ask my kids. They will tell you it's very traumatizing. They haven't had mashed potatoes since. And I haven't been allowed to make mashed potatoes since. That is also a true story. I have not been allowed to make them well, allowed, quote unquote. I'm a grown man. I can do what I want. But you know what I mean. I'm also a married man, so I can't do what I want. And there's no double entendre there. Don't look for it. That said, back to Trigger. You all called in with a lot of different things that have just triggered different memories for me. Different, mostly good, obviously. Just the different types of things that have centered in my life around fatherhood. And I can tell you that, you know, again, and it's funny. I brought this up. I mentioned this in a book. And it's now I'm going different places, if you will. And again, I'll talk about politics if you want, 866-391-1020, but it's a nice day outside. And it's Father's Day. And let's just be honest. I think everybody's a little exhausted with all the things that are going on. They want change. They don't see people that are willing to change it, but they're looking for that change. So I can talk about it if you want. I don't mind talking about it. There are things to talk about. Kids are still wilding out in downtown Pittsburgh. The Strait of Hormuz was both opened and closed, and kind of opened and closed. And then we've had an agreement, but it's not really an agreement. And we've had Trump praise the agreement and throw J.D. Vance underneath the bus all at the same time with the agreement. So, I mean, I get there's things to talk about. But I'm willing to go in a different direction. Back to Father's Day. And I bring up Father's Day, and I brought up the book, not just to harp on the book. Again, book's not out until August 11th. It's done. I've been doing the audiobook here, going through the mastering process. For those of you that want to buy the audiobook, it will be available. If you want to buy the hard copy, that is currently in production. If you want to buy the ebook, that will obviously be available as well. That said, the book talks about a lot of different themes. Ironically, as I was doing the audio recording of the book, it talks a lot about domestic violence, which is not something you would normally hear in a political memoir. But, I will touch upon this on the other side of this as well. As an African-American man, and as an American man, I won't even talk about it as an African-American man. As an American man, growing up in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and even the 2000s, that's not something that we talked about. Dirty little secret is that, when women went through domestic violence back then, we blamed the woman for going through domestic violence back then. Like she hit herself, or she tortured herself, or she abused herself. Well, you didn't leave. Well, abusers don't necessarily want the people they're abusing. They just hop up and leave. I'm out. Okay, goodbye. It's not how it works. And not to dive into that, but I wrote about that a lot in the book because it just seemed to crop up in multiple instances with different people that I had encountered over the course of my lifetime. But another thing that came up a lot was fatherhood, the value of fatherhood, the meaning of fatherhood, different examples of fatherhood. Obviously talked about my dad and the influence of my dad, but, I talked about the value of fatherhood a lot, in large part because it is one of those occurrences in life that if done right, and the same thing with motherhood. I'm not, saying that motherhood is not, it's Father's Day today. But with fatherhood, it's one of those occurrences in life that if you do it right, a lot of the values that we say we implore others to have in America, you get taught at an early age in life, an early stage in life, and it becomes part of who you are. So it's a lot easier to It's a lot easier to extol in your public life, in your civic life, whether you're in office or you're in business or things along those lines. It's just there. I didn't realize until I read the book how often I leaned on that and how often I tied that into not just American values, but also what we're missing in today's American values, the things that we're not doing well these days, the things that, ironically enough, we're complaining about. We're complaining about kids wilding out in the city and in the county, in large part because of the fatherhood crisis. Now, I did talk about the school-to-prison pipeline. I did talk about unemployment. I did talk about structural barriers in the economy that need to be addressed that can influence those things. But I also talked about how people can overcome those things if they're focused on the rudimentary value. Good fatherhood works through the barriers to find opportunities for themselves, i.e. the fathers, and subsequent to that, their children, which just carries things on through from there. I was surprised how often I brought that up. Just because, I don't know if any of you all have ever written an essay, or some of you all, I'm certain, have written books, or some type of writing where you have to be more reflective than what you might be used to being. And it's one thing to write it, and then when you have to read it again, and you have to reflect on what you've put down on paper, it's funny how it talks back to you. In part because if you're so close to it, you don't recognize that it's even there. And that makes sense. And I've been told that's going to happen to me. And of course, part of me was like, I don't think so. Well, now here we sit. And sure enough, that's what's transpired. I sit there and didn't realize that there were going to be certain things that kept coming up as being not only important to me, but also important to show that, hey, and by the way, these are the ways that these things work through not just our families and not just our neighborhoods and not just our communities, but through our country when we do these things the right way. And again, on Father's Day, I just kind of reflect upon, hey, this is one of those things. Being a good father matters. So, like I said, I just the stories that you all have brought up today, missing parents and the complexities of what parenthood is as a child versus as a child versus as an adult, and just kind of going from there. It's just kind of cool. Just kind of cool. So I just wanted to kind of touch upon that. After the break, 866-391-1020, I will pivot into a couple of things. I brought them up already. Number one, we're continuously hearing about, actually I'm going to get into three things. We hear about what's going on downtown. I want to get into that because I'm kind of sick of hearing the stories. I want to get to a point in time where we're getting some kind of resolution with this. But the other thing I want to do is I will get into the Strait of Hormuz. I will get into what's going on there. And then I also kind of want to talk about what's up with Juneteenth, because I know there's a Juneteenth celebration that's been going on this weekend here in the city. It's a newer holiday, so we're still hearing from people kind of doing the nasty pushback, if you will. It's not a real holiday. In fact, speaking of it not being a real holiday, I think I'll go there first after the break. Because again, as your, Black Forrest Gump, I have ties to one of the biggest stories that are out there over the course of the last couple of days in regards to Juneteenth. Because I've lived that life. So that said, 866-391-1020. I'm going to go to break. If you call in, I'll go to the phone lines. But I do want to talk about Juneteenth. I do want to talk about these kiddos wilding out. And then if we have time, I will still go to the Strait of Hormuz, whether it's open or closed at this current point in time. And we'll talk about that. But I'm going to go to break first here on News Radio KDKA.
Your source for everything that's news. Hear it on News Radio KDKA.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell & Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Planning for retirement isn't easy. If you don't know where to start, join Beth Andrews of Net Worth Advisors every Saturday at 1 for the Net Worth Financial Hour. Beth shares helpful tips and strategies that just might change the course of your retirement. Listen every Saturday at 1 to the Net Worth Financial Hour with Beth Andrews of Net Worth Advisors. Net Worth Advisors, LLC, is a registered investment advisor. Here's a World Soccer Championship Team Spotlight, brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need.
Belgium's golden generation has matured into seasoned veterans, headlined by a gifted attacking midfielder who orchestrates every move. The Red Devils bring technical quality and big game experience to every match.
Brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's Spruce, the weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people, pets, and bees. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Spruce, pet friendly, weed deadly. Find wherever weed killers are sold.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
Let me get back to the phone lines, 866-391-1020. Ruth on the north side, you're on KDK.
Hi, how are you? I wanted to report something that was really alarming on Spring Hill, okay? I was on my way, I wanted to go to church, and I'm walking down the hill trying to enjoy the day, and all of a sudden, there were all these cars came out of nowhere, and they were really high-end cars, and the people were acting like it was some kind of a speedway. And I've never seen anything like it. You know, they just hit the accelerator and just go flying up the hill. And there's children and there's families that live there. And we don't have any room to walk anyway because they're repairing, and I don't know they're going to kill somebody. And they just don't care, you know. So I had to tell someone, there's no signs, nothing. And people are free to do what they want. And I noticed the same thing down on East Ohio Street. I don't know where these crazy people come from, but they're going really fast in my neighborhood. and there's a lot of young people there, and they go down to Sarah Hines' house, and, children, babies. We got a lot of babies here. These people have a lot of nerve going through our neighborhood, and I'm very angry. It shouldn't be this way.
No.
We already had a death last year. We're going to, people shouldn't be dying because they want to joyride through our neighborhoods.
Ruth, I appreciate your phone call. 2, you got it off your chest. 3, I'd like to think that people that are in the know should know about this and should be able to fix this. And as I have mentioned on more than one occasion, it's unfortunate that too many people, we're hearing the same things. At some point in time, you're going to have either conciliation or consequences. People that want to get back into the fold of society have to have a pathway to get there. They have to have a better academic experience, a better scholastic experience, and a better employment experience. It has to be all 3. If you do those 3, you're going to have a 4th one, which is going to be a better civic experience. They're going to vote. They're going to pay taxes. They're going to make sure the communities are safer, and it will all around be better. But it needs to be a better academic experience, scholastic experience, employment experience to get to civic experience. And the bottom line is most of the people that are making decisions want to tell you about how to entertain these kids during the summer and then, put more money in the schools to pacify the kids during the school year. No, they need to learn more. They need to be better equipped. They need better experiences in high school and in grade school. Then they need to be able to find opportunities to sustain themselves. And if you do those 3 things, then they can be empowered in the society. But to do that, you have to have either conciliation that allows that to happen or consequences. Because if you don't, all that's going to transpire will be that a bunch of people will roll through your neighborhood, will not care about who's doing what, may put people in harm's way, and as a result, you're going to have needless issues, including possibly death. So I'd like to think, Ruth, that people heard your complaint, heard your frustration, heard your fear. Because people call in and they're frustrated and they just vent all the time. But hearing somebody's fear is completely different. So hopefully they heard that. I appreciate you calling in. 866-391-1020. I'm going to wait until after the break because I kind of want to get into this situation that I heard about and saw. And then I saw the name. Then I shook my head. And again, like I said, I've had a lot of experiences, which is ironic. I had explained this to somebody earlier this week. Just because I didn't do things here doesn't mean I haven't done things. And here in Pittsburgh, we have a tendency to feel like, you don't know my cousin, so you ain't do nothing. Or you didn't go to my high school, so you're not doing anything that's meaningful. Or, fill in a blank. Yeah, for me, sometimes it's you're not a Democrat, so you can't be involved in XYZ activities. But those things are not true. And there's a lot of these different type of experiences that I've had a chance to just kind of be a part of. Different people in my universe. Different people that I may have worked on things with. Good, bad, or ugly. One of the things I wrote about in the book was how I was able to get people from the far right and the far left together to work on criminal justice reform. I talked about getting people to go from people from the Tea Party and former Black Panthers to work together on education reform. I mean, after the aftermath of Naeem Kasbari passing away. So You can do things. Now, again, both of those examples, and one was actually here in Pittsburgh. The far right and the far left on criminal justice reform was here 10 years ago, roughly, but was here. The other one, and by the way, that one involved everybody from, people from the former National Council for Urban Peace and Justice, all the way to the ACLU and Americans for Prosperity, the Koch brothers, the evil Koch brothers. All of them came together on a similar agenda, mind you, for criminal justice reform. So there's something to be said about that. But that happened here. The other one happened in Chicago. My whole point is this. I have had an opportunity to do a lot of different types of things that may or may not fit what people are used to here. So I can relate to a lot of these different stories. And there's a perspective to it. Sometimes it's really deep. Sometimes it's going to kind of be like what I'm going to bring up after the news break, where it's just like, yeah, I know that person. Yeah, I'm not shocked that that person did this or said that. Yeah, here's my perspective. And yeah, here's why I have that perspective. But I will get to that after the break. In the meanwhile, 866-391-1020. I'm going to go to break early, get this news out of the way. Phone lines are still open. We can still go into Father's Day. But I'm going to shift a little bit into the end of the Juneteenth celebration. Because, look, I ain't going to lie. I said it 3 times, kind of like Beetlejuice. Except I'm not saying Beetlejuice 3 times. I've already said it twice. I'm not saying it a 3rd time. There's a lot of you all that will complain about Juneteenth and it being a federal holiday that I know took the holiday. You work for the government, you work for a bank. You took that holiday and didn't think twice about it. Complained about it. Talked about let's go, Brandon. And then sat there with your 3-day weekend and got paid for Friday. So miss me all the way through with it. Just miss me completely on that. Like this person I'm going to bring up after the break. I'm certain he worked for the government, he got paid, and then complained. But I'll get into it. Promise you. And you can comment on it at 866-391-1020 after the break. I'm going to check out the news. You check it out as well. But I'm coming back here on the Marconi Award-winning News Radio KDKA.
The weather is heating up, but so are the savings at Coons Market. Isn't that right, Frank Dentisi?
Right, Rob. In our meat department, 80% lean fresh ground beef is $4.99 a pound. In the produce department, sweet southern peaches 99 cents a pound. In the deli, Smith's Smokehouse Reserve ham is $7.99 a pound. And additional savings this week, selected varieties of Mrs. T pierogies, 12 to 16-ounce boxes, 2 for $5.
At Coons Market, a Pittsburgh tradition.
When a warrior faces adversity, he fights through it. He finds a way. Freedom isn't free. Rolling strong. Belief. Believe you can, and you will.
Wheelchairs for Warriors provides mobility solutions to veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Join the mission and visit wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-746-3737. That's 800-746-3737. 800-746-3737.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Mommy, can I sit in the front seat just this one time? Please, please, please.
No, not yet.
But why?
Because I love you, and you're just not ready yet. Now, get in the back so I can get you in your car seat, please.
Putting your kids in the right seat for their age and size is an act of love. Check that your kids are in the right seat at NHTSA.gov/right
News. I'm Mike Dubusky. The Strait of Hormuz was once again front and center at those high-level peace negotiations taking place in Switzerland today. Yesterday, following Israeli strikes on Lebanon, Iran announced it's closing the Strait of Hormuz, but U.S. CENTCOM says traffic is still flowing through that waterway. U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright on ABC's This Week.
There's 3 channels through the straits. There's the middle normal navigational channel that, unfortunately, the Iranians have mined. So that needs to be demined. Then there's a separate route up north by the Iranian islands that they've tried to force ships through. And then there's a southern route that the United States military has been escorting ships through for several weeks.
President Trump threatening more violence against Iran if they do close the strait. It's another round of severe weather for the Plain States. Cities at risk include Indianapolis, Oklahoma City, and Cincinnati. This is ABC News.
Colin Dunlap on KDKA.
There's a trillionaire, apparently. How does it go? It goes millionaire, billionaire, chamillionaire, and then trillionaire, right? I think that's how it goes. But anyway, there's about to be a trillionaire.
Weekdays 2 to 6 on the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Been 30 time, would have been 30, no, would have been 30, been 30, been 29. If that'll help, been 29,000.
Get ready to bid on the equipment you need in the Ritchie Brothers Northeast Regional Auction on June 23rd. Inventory is housed at locations in Pittsburgh, North Franklin, and Northeast Maryland with in-person inspections available. Bid on a wide selection of construction and transportation equipment. Don't miss this great opportunity. Visit rbauction.com/Pittsburgh to sign up. Again, that's rbauction.com/Pittsburgh.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2026 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Father's Day, go big for Dad. Celebrate Father's Day with 5 courses fresh from the wok fire. Enjoy a 5-course celebration experience starting at $89.99, featuring premium entrees like New York prime strip steak tataki, oolong chili and sea bass, and lobster and prawn fried rice. Bold flavors, sizzling favorites, a meal made to impress. Because Dad deserves more than just a dinner. He deserves a celebration. Celebrate Father's Day with some sizzle. Only at P.F. Chang's.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Partly sunny this afternoon, the high 77. Mostly cloudy tonight with rain and a thunderstorm later on, low 61. Mostly cloudy, humid tomorrow. A few showers and a thunderstorm, high 74. And then lower humidity Tuesday, high 77. For AccuWeather, I'm John Feerick, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Hi, this is Larry Richard. Join us Monday on the Big K Morning Show, 5:30 until 10. Lenny McAllister will join me in our 8 o'clock hour, plus our first full week of summer. What can you do in the Berg? We'll tell you.
See, y'all didn't believe me. I told you I was coming here on the Big K Morning Show Monday morning, 8 to 9 with Larry Richard. But no, you didn't believe me. So I pulled a few strings, reached out to a few people, and voila. There you go. Larry's saying it himself. So don't doubt me. I mean, let me rephrase it. You can doubt me all you want. Don't doubt Larry Richard. So you want to bring it to me, 866-391-1020, fine. Don't doubt Larry. So Joe said it would. That was weather back in the day. And don't doubt Larry is now the thing that you need to remember when it comes to Pittsburgh radio. Yes, I will be here with him tomorrow morning. Big K Morning Show. 5:30 to 10. He is here with you 5 days a week. I will be here 8 to 9 on Monday. That said, going back to the phone lines, 866-391-1020, going to Dave in Wilkinsburg. Dave, you're on KDK.
Hi, I'm in the city right now. I think farmers' kids have all kinds of advantages over city kids. There's too much asphalt in the cities. Can we do something to alleviate the asphalt problem? Now, if a farmer kid does something wrong, their butt feels it. So can we do something? And there's very little asphalt in the country. Can we do something about all the asphalt? It's not a good scene. It's hot in the summertime. It's slippery in the wintertime. It gets more slippery than concrete, where they cover over some cobblestone roads in the city with asphalt. Can we do something about the asphalt problem?
I did something about it just now, Dave. Of course there's not as much of that stuff in the country because there's not as many people out there. A. B, they're using that versus concrete in part because I'd have to imagine it's cheaper. I don't know. Economies of scale. 3, I don't know about farmers' kids having advantages over city kids. There's this level of exposure that one should take into consideration as well. So that's it. Appreciate your phone call as always. Juneteenth. So it's become a national story. There's a commissioner, a county commissioner, Cabarrus County, North Carolina, dude by the name of Larry Pittman. I know who Larry Pittman is. I've interacted with Larry Pittman years and years and years ago. Before you were born. Man, most of y'all know him not before you were born. Except for one little kid that's riding with his mama coming back from D.C. Definitely before he was born. That said, I got my eyes on you everywhere. You didn't realize I do, but I do. That said, he's gone viral because, he's got to beat his chest and pound the desk about how Juneteenth is not based on history, that it's a made-up holiday made up on, I'm paraphrasing, made up on things that are not historically true, and he's sick of people not teaching history in America anymore. No, yeah, there are people that don't teach history in America. I give you that. But the rest of what he was saying is cockamamie. Anybody that knows where Juneteenth came from, number one, knows that Juneteenth has been around for a very long time. This ain't something that Joe Biden brought up all of a sudden in 2021 or 2022. I think it was 2021. The first federal holiday for Juneteenth was June 2021. That's number one. Number two, to say that it's not based on history is, a little disappointing. Because part of it is, it gets to the whole idea of let's get back to how it was when I was young, the good old days. As if America 1955 was like the best era of America ever. And that's where we get into trouble because let's just be honest. 1, there was a recession during Eisenhower. 2, we were losing the space race. 3, we were losing to the communists. And 4, oh, by the way, the country was smoldering based on race relations because a whole bunch of black veterans came back after World War II, like they did after World War I, and folks tried to go right back to what they did after World War I, which was lynch black people in their uniforms. And the folks in World War II was like, nah, we're not doing that. No, we're not doing that. And that also, again, Brown versus Board, 1954. I named 1955. 1957 was the Little Rock experience, quote unquote. You all know what I'm talking about. Little Rock 9. Desegregating schools with soldiers because people were that violent and they were that violently protesting Americans going to school with other Americans. But there seems to be this tendency for people to want to go back to that era. Ergo, we didn't teach about Juneteenth in schools when I was growing up, and Larry Pittman's older than I am. So this is kind of where his mindset is. It wasn't taught in school when I was growing up. This is a made-up holiday by the woke left, and therefore it's ruining America because it doesn't really exist because it's not really real. The woke left made it up. And it's like, okay, they didn't teach it to you in school. They also didn't teach you when you were growing up that, you know, black people were worthy of using the same water fountain as you. Because, I mean, he's in North Carolina. I know he's older than me. I'm pretty certain he grew up during Jim Crow. Or they didn't teach you about any of the black scientists. Oh, save, you know, George Washington Carver, because we all know about the peanut. Aside from him, you didn't get taught about black scientists, black politicians, black military leaders. I just watched a documentary on Netflix about the Harlem Hellfighters. I'm certain you never heard about them. Or any of this other stuff. One of the very first African-American congressmen was a Republican. Henry Cheatham, who I actually named an organization after, down in North Carolina, also many, many, many years ago, before some of you were born, to relive a theme. He was out of North Carolina. I'm certain they didn't teach you about that in school either. So why do I bring all this up? I bring all this up because to have the whole mindset that it wasn't taught in school before, so if it's taught now, it must not be true. And to use that, and then your public platform as a county commissioner, to rail against something that you don't know what you're talking about, just makes you, I don't know, highlight the fool that you are. And what's problematic is that he's not lonely. He's not alone. He is not an exception to the rule. He is on a boat, not even just a boat. It's a ship of fools. And it's a very filled ship. I'm surprised it hasn't capsized by now by how many people are riding on this ship of fools. People that simply don't know enough to open La Googla or a book. You want to go old school? Open a book and actually see if it's true or not. No, let's not do that. I was told by my favorite 4, newscasters that it's by the woke left. Therefore, it doesn't exist. And you might say, why am I talking about a county commissioner from a place that I used to live 15, 16 years ago? I will tell you why. But I will tell you why after the break. 866-391-1020. Not that I hate Larry Pittman. I don't hate Larry Pittman. Not that I eschew him as a child of God. He's a child of God. But do I push back on this foolishness Do I look at this and say this is the problem, or not the problem, but this is a problem as to where we are as a country? Yes. He is not the exception, but he certainly is an example. And I'm going to talk about why when I come back after the break on News Radio KDKA.
Don't miss your chance to step up and make a difference in your community. The Highmark Walk for a Healthy Community supports over 150 local health and human service agencies across 6 regions, including Erie, Johnstown, and Pittsburgh. To donate or register for an upcoming walk, log on to walkforahealthycommunity.org. Even if the walk in your region has concluded, you can still donate. 100% of funds raised goes directly to the local nonprofit of your choice. So let's get walking and make a difference in your community. Donate or register today. Donations will be accepted through June 30th.
I'm with Joe Potachnik from JP Roofing and Siding, a platinum preferred contractor from Owens Corning. Joe, what does that mean?
It's an elite status. We earn that by using Owens Corning products to qualify for the platinum preferred warranty. That's a 50-year warranty on the materials and 25-year on the labor, 100%.
That's the upper 1% in America after 45 years, Joe. Congratulations.
Thank you, Larry.
Call JP Roofing and Siding, 412-829-7711. Zero Res wants to help you clean your home. Big summer savings with 3 rooms cleaned starting at $139 and $599 per system for air duct cleaning. Visit ZeroResPGH.com and ask for the KDKA special.
SchultzFord.com, 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 SchultzFord.com.
I know. Short break. But I was itching to tell you why. This whole Larry Pittman thing. And again, it's down in the Charlotte area. Down in Cabarrus County, which is literally to the east. So it's like the Westmoreland County of Charlotte, akin to our Allegheny County, Pittsburgh, and then to the east, Westmoreland County. That's what Cabarrus County is. You know, where people want to go and get more land and avoid the taxes of the main city. They want to avoid Mecklenburg. Many people, unfortunately, want to avoid Allegheny County. They go to Westmoreland. A lot of them. Or they go here. They go north. They do that there as well. They go north to Iredell County. But enough about North Carolina geography, because there's no quiz today. But if there were, you'd be able to pass, because I taught you. That's it. Not that I want to focus on the whole Larry Pittman, Cabarrus County aspect of these things, like it's a big deal that he does it. He's going to change, the Magna Carta and change things, and that's why it matters. His rant online, go look for it, you'll see it. His rant online is significant because, as I mentioned, he's not an exception, he's an example. We now have, I called him a ship of fools and thought about it after the break and said to myself, should I call them a ship of fools? That's a commonly used expression. Should that still apply? And I said, yes, it does. So, that said, we have this ship of fools that just so happens to be in positions of power, saying things that they don't know what the heck they're talking about. They're participating in pop culture wars that only further divide us rather than trying to embrace it. Now, I've seen some people embrace it, and that's fine. But when it comes to the Juneteenth holiday, just enjoy it. Go look at the history of it. Now, I know this is blasphemous here in Pittsburgh, but I mean, Juneteenth has more of a cultural significance to the country than Labor Day does. It just does. Now, I'm not saying that the value of people that built this country is insignificant. But if you look at celebrating unionized labor or the end of American slavery Sorry, they're not equal. They're both important. They both have value. And I guarantee you, between one being at the very end of summer and the other one being at the very beginning of summer, people will cook out, barbecue, take the day off, and everything else. You will just go celebrate that federal holiday and not think twice of it. But they ain't the same. And unfortunately, there are too many people in positions of power that don't want to learn anything new. The world was the way it was. And ergo, they're not going to change. They don't want to change, and they're mad that it changed. Now, the problem with this, too, as well, is this. Those same people don't mind breaking whatever rule they need to break. They will break a rule that accommodates them just fine. They will tell you that rules were made to be broken. They will tell you that laws were made to be altered or upended or overturned. First thing they'll point to is Roe v. Wade. And I'm not getting into an abortion issue. I'm just saying that's an example of that. These are the same people, many of them, that fought to overturn Roe v. Wade for decades. But then when you take something that's historically based, that you can just go look up and read over the course of 30 seconds. And by the way, recognize that, people have been celebrating this for a long time. It just never became a federal holiday. And we made it a federal holiday. Now, you can get into the why it became a federal holiday. Of course, it came after the uprising with George Floyd and all the tensions in 2020. And honestly, what people want to forget is that we had a decade of racial tensions. A decade of racial tensions. Trayvon Martin all the way through. Trayvon Martin, by the way, y'all, was 2012. We had a decade, by the way, came on the heels of our first African-American president, which says something about where we are as a country, where the response to having an African-American president was angst, heightened racial conflict. Go look it up. It's true. That said, we had a decade of that angst, which culminated as far as the spillover with the George Floyd killing in 2020, which then led to Juneteenth becoming a holiday. The reaction to that, rather than saying things change, things were made to change, instead became this huge pushback amid a whole lot of other pushback. Now, I will say I'm also one that we've been celebrating Christopher Columbus Day forever. And I can say that I understand why people do not want to celebrate it anymore. But I would have said that at 9 years old, too. I knew enough back then at 9 years old. But I also understand why it's been kept. My point is, there's a way to do the research and understand that it's not just made up out of thin air. And unfortunately, too many things that come about as a result of the changing demographic in America, we're seeing too many people in positions of power push back in ways that are toxic. Now, to Larry Pittman's defense, Larry Pittman was never known as being an intellectual or bright or eloquent, or if you see the video, not well dressed either. You know, the fashion style of a backwoods preacher from 1962 with gaiters on. I mean, and that's fine. You can do that. You're allowed to dress poorly in America. You see me every week. I wear the same 3 shirts, flag pin, busted jacket. I don't have gaiters on, so I ain't that level, but fine. You can do that if you like. I'm not busting his chops on that. Somebody might, but I'm not. Where I am, though, is this. It's not that hard to go open a book and see the significance of it. It's kind of like how people were with the quote-unquote Negro national anthem. I didn't know black people had a national anthem. We only had one national anthem. Well, you know, for years when we didn't have just one America, we had two Americas because you all put laws in the books, and I'm saying you all, not the people that are living now, but you all as in, you know, your great ancestors, because they're somebody's ancestors. When that was the case, and African Americans were fighting to be able to go to the schools that everybody else could go to, including law schools, med schools, and everything else. Again, all those cases got resolved in the 1940s, 1950s, within a lot of people's lifetimes, even now. They had to sing both national anthems to have a level of pride. And at the same exact time, still claim this country. All while living through an era where, I don't know, black veterans could come home and get lynched. Black veterans couldn't sit on the front of the bus. Black veterans couldn't get the GI Bill benefits. So you can't say, I didn't know, when this stuff's documented. And that's just the everyday American, much less anybody that's in elected office that has the power of the purse, which a county commissioner does, to influence schools, some funding, influence services, quite certainly, and then be so ignorant, not ignorant, ignorant. There's too many people like that in America these days that have positions of authority. And we wonder why we're going into America 250 and we're talking more about a UFC fight that happened last Sunday than we are about pride in America and what the next generations can do to make America, hate to say it, great for the next 50 to 150 to 250 years. Instead, we get to hear from the bellows of the ship of fools about whatever they want to talk about that they don't know about. Last hour coming up after the news here on News Radio KDKA.
The perfect place for mom. When you're handling an estate or an inherited home, the decisions can feel overwhelming. At Home Buyers of Pittsburgh, we help families through this every single week. We make a quick, fair cash offer on the home, coordinate any cleanouts, help you through the process, and we'll buy it in its current condition. No pressure, no surprises. Visit homebuyersoftpittsburgh.com or call 412-500-9057 for help selling today. That's 412-500-9057 for help selling today.
Home Buyers of Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh's local trusted home buyer since 2015.
Hi, this is Les Botkin of Botkin Family Wealth Management. My wife Barb and I celebrated our 50th wedding anniversary with a Florida family vacation. The intense August heat prompted me to share a story with my grandkids about working my first job as an assistant golf pro in my early 20s. I earned $2.10 an hour and was thrilled when I found a great pair of work shoes for only $7. They were injection molded plastic. Even the stitching was plastic. I felt like I'd hit the jackpot with those fine-looking shoes. That was until I was teaching a golf lesson on a hot summer day when, standing on the tee, I felt my feet burning up and realized my shoes were literally melting onto the grass. I suddenly realized why they'd been such a bargain. Remembering times like those make me appreciate the journey of my life. At Botkin Family Wealth Management, we're interested in hearing your story because understanding your beginnings is an important part of appreciating what it took to get where you are today. Visit us at botkinfamilywealth.com.
Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC.
100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA. Covered by JP Roofing and Siding. Pittsburgh's #1 platinum roofing company.
I'm Pierre Palazzolo,
VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
I'm Mike Tabusky. Israel's defense minister says his country will remain in southern Lebanon, calling the area essential for the defense of Israeli settlements and IDF forces there. Recent Israeli strikes in Lebanon have been putting pressure on peace negotiations with Iran, but U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee says the president remains aligned with Israel.
There is no world leader that the president speaks to more than he does Prime Minister Netanyahu. Theirs is a relationship that is not just as two statesmen. It is deeply personal.
Iran's foreign ministry this weekend saying the U.S. is not fulfilling its commitment in last week's Memorandum of Understanding to pressure Israel to stop its attacks on Lebanon. New York Times national security correspondent David Sanger speaking on ABC's This Week.
We could be in a situation, we don't know yet, where access to the strait just gets turned on and off by the Iranians or pushed up and down in its level, depending on what's happening in Lebanon and elsewhere.
Talks between the U.S., Iran, Pakistan, and Qatar lasted about 80 minutes today in Switzerland. Air quality concerns in the Boyle Heights neighborhood of Los Angeles today as fire crews continue to battle a blaze at a cold storage facility warehouse there. California Governor Gavin Newsom declaring a state of emergency yesterday. KABC's Monica DeAnda is near the scene.
This warehouse stores about 85 million pounds of food. That is a ton, including meat, poultry, and bread products. That food, well, it's now starting to spoil, further complicating the situation on the ground. And once the firefight is over, only then will crews be able to remove and dispose of thousands of tons of spoiled food.
And it's been another weekend of severe weather with 11 tornadoes touching down in 3 states yesterday and more heavy rain and high winds today in the central U.S. You're listening to ABC News.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Clouds and sun this afternoon, high in the upper 70s. We'll have some rain and a thunderstorm late tonight, low 61. Mostly cloudy tomorrow, a few showers and a thunderstorm, I-74. Then less humid Tuesday, partly sunny, I-77. For AccuWeather, I'm John Feerick, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
The following is an editorial by KDKA Radio Regional Vice President Michael Spacciapoli.
Once again, we are honoring dads on this Father's Day weekend. Men with children who are growing or have left the nest, and those with grandchildren. This is our time to express gratitude for fathers. It is also time to remember fathers no longer with us and dads who are our heroes. So here's to the fathers of all ages and those who have left us. Men who are dependable, involved, compassionate, honest, playful, industrious, and just great human beings. Happy Father's Day.
This has been an editorial by KDKA Radio Regional Vice President Michael Spacciapoli. To view a transcript, go to kdkaradio.com.
Ryan doesn't know it, because how could he? This is the first shift he's had. But it's funny because I told you all that bumper is a theme song for a talk show in the Charlotte region. And so for me to talk about a Charlotte politician being a numbskull just kind of is ironic to me. So, Ryan, you get an assist on that, even though it was kind of like, a hit off your skate and I scored. But you still get an assist. It doesn't matter. It's an assist. No one will know during contract negotiations that You got an assist that hit off your skate, and they counted it as a pass. You can always say that you meant to redirect it. And as your agent, I will argue that to make sure that we get a raise and a longer contract. So I'm just saying, it's all good. 866-391-1020. Going to the phone lines. Anthony in Oakland, happy Father's Day. You're on KDK.
Same to you, young man.
Thank you.
You know, what hurts me, being a Democrat for over 50 years, is seeing how my party has been hijacked by these socialists. I don't call them Democratic socialists because their leader, Bernie Sanders, is not a Democrat. He's an independent. And he doesn't even vote in the state that he's in. He doesn't even vote because their primaries are excluded from independence. So this man is a fraud, and all his followers are frauds because all they believe in is government can do more for you than you can do for themselves. And that's not what John Kennedy told us. So, I mean, this is just – and to see these communist types just sprouting out all over the country and calling themselves Democrats, smearing a party that I've known, that I became – my parents used to be Republicans because back in those days most blacks were Republicans because of Lincoln and a few other things. But after Kennedy and Johnson, I mean, we transferred. But I stayed one because of JFK. And I'm going to always be one until I'm not here anymore. But I'm sick and tired of these frauds sprouting up all over with their nonsense.
Man, you sure you're not a Republican? Because that's what a lot of Republicans have said since 2016. But I can relate.
I'm a blue dog.
I know. I'm making the joke that, and this is why there are so many people that are registered as independents, as you well know, Anthony, because both parties have been hijacked by people that do not subscribe to what the party, values used to be. Again, this is the party of tariffs now from the Republican Party side. Is like when did the Republicans become the party of tariffs? And then from the far left, or from the left, it's become the far left, where, I mean, look, people can say it or not say it, but Democratic socialists have gotten a foothold in the Democratic Party, and what they do is they take off the socialists, they run as Democrats, and then when they get in, they govern as Democratic Socialists. That they don't call it that. It's more like a Democrat Socialist light, or it's like a trial run of it. I'll go as far left as you let me go. And then they'll complain about why people are leaving a city, people are leaving a county, you're losing businesses, people are going overseas and the like.
Well, but that's why I try to point it out, and that's why they love the closed primary system. Because they have figured it out. I mean, they're shrewd. They have figured it out that they can outvote you in the primary. Because independents and leaning Republicans can't vote. Now, we're talking urban cities, because that's most of where this is happening at, is in the urban areas.
Yeah.
Where they have, unfortunately, have brainwashed these young and black and Puerto Rican and the limousine liberals. They're very good at this. I mean, Malcolm warned us about those folks in the 60s.
He did.
The limousine liberals, they're happy with this because they're good for telling black folks and others how to live while they live out in their enclaves of suburban world. Or move to the city and drive the prices so high
and
that most black people and poor can't live there.
Well, I mean, that's happened in some areas, which, by the way, there seems to be a revenge of that coming up because East Liberty in certain areas were gentrified, and now those are some of the same areas. I mean, they just had a teen takeover in East Liberty, which, back when I was growing up, that was just called people getting off the LP or the 71B versus now, or the 71D. Well, maybe not so much 71D, but definitely the LP. That said, now it's a teen takeover because there's a milkshake factory and a Target there. And, those.
But they're not. Let me say this. I have grandkids who are online saying, hey, Dad, a lot of these kids are coming from the suburbs. I mean, they're coming from the rural areas, the Rankins, the Braddocks, they're coming to converge because of online nonsense. And so a lot of them aren't even from the city.
Bingo. And it's funny because this is something, and I've brought up this story before. and every year's passed, and I don't, I'm sure I'm going to get some hate for saying it, but I used to be a producer for Ellis Cannon, and I will never forget so they used to have a show on PCNC. One show, God bless his soul, was Jim Roddy and Joe Mystic. And the other week would be Rich Fitzgerald and Peduto. And they would talk about, they would basically go on and talk about issues and, of course, talk about how great the city is. And so
those two didn't get along.
Well, they were on the air every other week. And so long and short of it, I remember one time I was in a booth, and I remember them talking about how, city and crime down and this, that, and the other. And I remember they were just kind of patting each other on the back. And I came out of the booth during the commercial break and said, let me explain something. All that you all did was take the black people that you gentrified out of the eastern part of the city of Pittsburgh, and you drove them into Swissville, Rankin, Whitaker, Penn Hills, and Wilkinsburg. And I said, all you did was take poverty and shift it. You didn't fix it.
That's what they did.
You're making it seem as though you fixed it. You didn't fix anything. All you did was shift it from one place to another. So, yeah, it's not the city's problem anymore, but it's still in Allegheny County. And sure enough, Bill Peduto was like, yeah, Lenny's right. B, Rich Fitzgerald didn't appreciate the comment. And 3, Ellis Cannon I thought was going to explode because I was blowing up his guests during a 2-minute commercial break. But my point goes back, and it reminds me of the story because of what you just said, which is this. No, a lot of the issues are not, people think they're Pittsburgh issues. They're Allegheny County issues. So, because when people say, I don't want to live in a city because of what happened in Market Square, they're not saying, I'm just going to move to Penn Hills. No, what they're saying is, no, I'm going to move to Butler County. No, I'm going to move to Plum, but I'm going to move to the other side of Plum in Westmoreland County. I'm going to move here, and I'll just commute in. Which, guess what? It doesn't mean that Pittsburgh loses. It means the Pittsburgh region, i.e. Allegheny County, loses. And that's what people miss.
And we've had a perfect storm of county council and Sarah Innamorato, who is a Democratic socialist, and Bethlehem, who's a Democratic socialist. This is their wish list. Then you got on city council, Barb Warwick and that crowd. So this is their confluence. They love this stuff. Because as soon as you point it out, they come up with all kind of ridiculous, nonsensical things that these kids have nothing to do. And listen, yes, they do. They sit on their phones on TikTok, and the Chinese is giving them all the nonsense and craziness to go out here and do this stuff, while the Chinese TikTok has nothing but science on it all day. So we have created this monster. We talk about the greatest generation. Well, this is the dumbest generation. They might be tech savvy, but they have no common sense. And their hooligan behavior is going to have repercussions.
But I think, hold on, I think they have common sense. I think that they have turned off the mechanism where they could care, because they have just told themselves this isn't worth it. And because they have been trained on their phones more often than not to look past the next 15 minutes of their lives, there's no consequence. So if that means I go out there and I try to stunt and do something, I mean, think of all the different stunts that they have done. Drink this, do that. Put a gasoline hat on your head and then walk around with a match and throw it up in the air and see if you can catch the catch the match with your gasoline hat and see what happens. I mean, not that that's real, but they do stuff like that.
How many times? Or walk up to people and call them racial slurs,
and just see what happens.
Or walk up to men with their wives and talk about how good their wives look, and all kind of just nonsense. But see, when you don't have repercussions for actions, and you throw ankle bracelets on, and you send these little kids back home to their dysfunctional homes, the parents don't care. This generation was raised by parents who were on crack. So we're in a sad state of affairs. And you know what's going to happen? Because my sons and myself, we carry. And if I'm downtown with my wife and you surround me or my car, there's going to be a lot of carnage. Because I'm not going to allow you to hurt me and my family.
What did I have mentioned this before, Anthony, before I let you go. I've told people that we are one incident away from somebody that genuinely has fear, and they just start shooting. And then this place is going to explode because people are going to say, one, I gave the worst case scenario. I said it's going to be some white dude that works at PNC Bank that is a good person that just somebody tried to accost him at 5:45 at night and got up in their face, tried to intimidate them, made a move, and homeboy pulls out a gun and blows away 2 teenagers. It's going to be seen as being racial. It's going to be explosive, and you're not going to have a whole lot of people in the region that are going to be able to calm that down. And they're going to blame the guy, and it's going to be like, okay, well, at the same exact time, what transpired? Well, the guy was surrounded by 5 youths. It was daylight, but it was downtown, but they had been down there for 3 hours, and this guy got surrounded. He got scared. They got in his face. They touched him. He pulled out a gun because he didn't know what they were going to have. And then we're going to be dealing with that for a week where the National Guard's going to come in here from Trump. And people are going to wonder what's going on. And it's like, you got to solve this proactively before you get to that point in time.
And unlike Carmelo Anthony's situation, it will be real self-defense. Because not just happen to be a white guy. You know, black guys like myself and my 4 sons, they have a license too.
I get
and
that.
They're going to protect their families too.
I understand that, but let's just be honest. The worst case scenario, I appreciate you as always. The worst case scenario would be it's a white guy. Because then it's going to get all racial up in a piece, and no one's going to hear what that person went through. Because let's just be honest. Racially speaking, and Bishop, I'll get to you. I'll get to everybody else after the break at 866-391-1020. But let's just be honest. When you introduce race into some of these things, people turn off their ears on all sides of the dynamic, not just white to black. People think that's a white to black thing only. And no, it's not. There are certain people that will sit there and say, you know, that white dude wanted to shoot that kid regardless. You think so? You think he wanted all that hell in his life? He might have just wanted to go to his car and go home. He might have had a date night. He might have had a babysitter. He might have just wanted to go get a drink, go watch the Pirate game, whatever the case may be. There's going to be a segment of the population, because this is with everything, with everybody. There's a segment that just throws that away, throws away the common sense like Anthony was talking about, and it will just be the anger, the angst, the hurt, the confusion, the fog of cultural war. Or as I said in an article for Red State in 2020, the fog of civil war. That's what it will be. And unfortunately, we're getting real close. Don't let a police officer have to tase a kid, and a kid is asthmatic and ends up dying. We keep having these teen takeovers. We're running the risk. Let's not have a kid grab at a police officer's belt, because the police officer's not going to grab for a taser at that point in time. They're going to grab for a weapon, and they're going to say their life is at risk. And if they're grabbing for a belt, it's a good chance it is. Then what? I'll get to Bishop after the break here on News Radio KDKA.
When you need to talk, we're here for you. Always have been. News Radio KDKA.
The weather is warming up, but so are the savings at Coons Market. Isn't that right, Frank Dentisi?
Right, Rob. In our meat department, tender hand-cut filet mignon is $19.99 a pound. In the produce department, sweet Northwest cherries, $1.98 a pound. In the deli, Boar's Head Friars turkey breast is $10.99 a pound. And additional savings this week, selected varieties of Popsicle Pops, 12 to 18 count packages, $3.99 each.
Coons Market, a Pittsburgh tradition.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell. Licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
Planning for retirement isn't easy. If you don't know where to start, join Beth Andrews of Net Worth Advisors every Saturday at 1 for the Net Worth Financial Hour. Beth shares helpful tips and strategies that just might change the course of your retirement. Listen every Saturday at 1 to the Net Worth Financial Hour with Beth Andrews of Net Worth Advisors. Net Worth Advisors, LLC, is a registered investment advisor.
Hey, this is Calvin. And Sam.
with Cousins Roofing, Siding, and Decks.
We're looking for experienced deck builders and lead carpenters who want to build high-end outdoor spaces without all the headaches. We specialize in premium decks, covered porch roofs, outdoor living spaces, and custom exterior projects. These are the kind of jobs that you'll actually be proud to put your name on.
And we pay fast.
Apply today at callthecousins.com/careers.
That's callthecousins.com/careers.
Call the Cousins.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Get connected. That's the Inside Connection this Saturday morning at 9 with your local Medicare experts from MediConnect. If you're turning 65, hear all the inside information available to seniors on the Inside Connection, presented by MediConnect. Medicare made simple.
The KDKA radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at KennyRoss.com.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
Hear about it, then talk about it. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, let me get back to the phone lines. 866-391-1020. 866-391-1020. Bishop, happy Father's Day. You're on KDKA.
Well, happy Father's Day to you, Brother Lenny, and all the fathers in the listening audience. Happy Father's Day. Listen, Brother Lenny, one, what a joke of going over there and meeting for an hour and 20 minutes. You might as well do that over there. You know how they do as far as the social media stuff. I mean, that's burning up the taxpayers' money, flying all over the world trying to they know good and well that this ain't working. And it's a shame that us taxpayers are caught in the middle as far as this bogus peace talk and all this kind of nonsense that this funding got us into. Now, and until they get Israel straight, I don't know what's going to happen. I think the taxpayer is going to be in the middle as far as fluctuating gas prices. That being said, the incident that happened the other night, once again, downtown. Now, that happened under, and I'm going to talk to B. Marshall about this. That happened under his watch, under June 19th, and where some police officers got hurt, etc., and multiple arrests and guns and stuff confiscated. My thing is, and I'm going to say it again, I know you have a difference of opinion. I agree with Anthony on this, on certain things. Now, if it was me, now, and they came around me with that nonsense or wanted to come at me, there's going to be some people that may not be long with us, teenager or not. It's disgraceful. Now, the parents, Brother Lenny, should know where your kids at. Come on, man. 9, 10, 11 o'clock. I don't care if they came from the suburban, which I think a lot of them still came from Pittsburgh. They were our kids. All right. The parents has to be held accountable. I mean, it's parenting 101. I know, now, Anthony just got saying, well, that generation of crack. Well, no, I don't necessarily all agree with that.
No, that is true. I mean, well, actually, what I wanted to augment to his point was, no, that generation of parents wasn't on crack. They may have been on crack. But that generation of parents, a lot of them, their parents were on crack. So when you have now 2 and 3 generations impacted by drug use and underemployment and lack of academic and scholastic opportunities and lack of overall life opportunities, and you couple it with substance abuse, yeah, you kind of get to where we're unfortunately sitting these days.
Well, if that's the case, then they need to be charged, and then they need to be made to go to parenting classes. All right, because this is absurd. And like you said,
do you think the parenting classes really work?
You know what? To be honest with you, no, they don't work.
No, they don't need to go to parenting classes. If you want them to be accountable, then that's fine. Hold them accountable. If you want to send them both to jail, I wouldn't necessarily want to see that, because all you're going to do is fill up the jails and you're going to decimate communities all over again. The truth is, and I've said this previously to you and to others on the air, and I've said it privately, there's not enough active work to remedy the problem overall, which is you can't have kids that are coming out of 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th grade that can't read. Then from there, they can't be hitting 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th grade without opportunities to grow their brains. And then they can't be coming out of 10th, 11th, 12th grade or, 18 and up and not have some place to at least try to work or to advance their lives.
Well, I'll close on this, and I beg your pardon on one thing, but what you said is, okay, well, whose fault that? Now, is it the educational system? Are you just pushing them through because they can't read, they can't write, they don't know how to do math? Now, I know a lot of institutions are doing that, and
they've been doing that for 40, 50 years.
Okay, well, then, Brother Lenny, shouldn't they be held accountable?
They should, and then you're setting me up. You're the person that told me we need to close charter schools in Allegheny County. There's a reason why hold on. There's a reason why there's been so much school choice in Pennsylvania, because some of these school districts have been failing 4 generations, if not more, probably 5, but I'll stop at 4 generations of Pennsylvanians in some of these communities. As a result, the only way they're going to get a shot is not by dumping more money into these schools. You're going to have to put them in other schools immediately.
Wait a minute, I'll close with this. Now, I didn't say all charter schools. I said there should be a cap, but I will say this one thing. All the charter schools, now some of them are doing all right, but there's some charter schools that's failing, and I believe if that particular charter school is failing, that kid should go back to their home district.
No, they should go to another school. They left the home school because it wasn't working. They went to the charter school, and if it's not going to work at the charter school, they got to go to another school. No, I'm not throwing them back. I'm not throwing them from one fire to another fire. I'm going to put them someplace where there's no fire.
Do you believe that some charter schools are failing?
I know some charter schools are failing.
Then what do you think should be done to them then?
It's the same thing you should do to the public schools. If a school's failing and you don't remedy it, then you need to take the resources, because they're limited resources, and allocate them to schools that work, and then get those schools over to the schools that work. I would say that with any school, if there's a Catholic school that's not working, as a cradle Catholic, I'm not going to sit there and give a whole bunch of money to a Catholic school that doesn't work and doesn't teach the kids.
Well, then we need education reform. I'll talk to you, Brother Lenny, and I'll be sending you a text. Thank you.
Thank you, child of God. You have a wonderful Father's Day. Appreciate you and yours. In the meanwhile, I got a half an hour left. So I would go back to the phone lines at 866-391-1020. Surprisingly, we had only one call, and that was Brother Bishop talking about the Strait of Hormuz. We don't have to talk about the Strait of Hormuz. I kind of know what's going on with the Strait of Hormuz. It's a mess. We didn't need to go to this war. They're going to have a very hard time getting out of this war, and they're going to it's not even putting lipstick on a pig. It's literally putting crap on a pig with the deal that they're trying to promote and say it's a good deal. It's not a good deal. It's not even close to being a good deal. But we could talk about that. We could talk about these kids. Or we can go in any direction you want. I got one more half an hour left here on News Radio KDKA.
Heart disease is the leading cause of death in the United States. So when it comes to your heart, there's no room for compromise. At UPMC Heart and Vascular Institute, innovation, technology, and world-class expertise come together to treat the most complex heart cases, redefining what's possible for patients who need it most. Getting your heart checked can save your life. Schedule your appointment with the region's leader at upmc.com/heart.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-746-3737. That's 800-746-3737. 800-746-3737.
This is Marty Griffin. I have seen so much anger these days. You know what's overwhelmed me with joy and optimism? This Get Marty. The folks in this community that have stepped up. You can't help your neighbor if you hate your neighbor. Get Marty epitomizes that opportunity to help people, feed people, clothe people, educate people. If you need me, get Marty at KDKRadio.com. It's where we will find a way to help you.
Presented by UPMC Health System, Phil DeLuceni and Associates, Cousins Roofing, Siding and Decks, and by Harold Shepley and Associates. From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM.
ABC News, I'm Mike Dubusky. Israel will remain in southern Lebanon, according to officials from that country, that despite recent threats from Iran to pull out of Lebanon. It's all now threatening the U.S.'s peace negotiations with Iran. U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright telling ABC's This Week about today's talks in Switzerland.
This first candid dialogue will set out what the Iranian goals are and what they think the trade-offs they might have to make are.
Biohazard concerns are making it difficult for fire crews to battle a blaze at a warehouse in Los Angeles. That's because that cold storage facility is full of perishable food. KABC's Monica DeAnda is near the scene.
There's multiple fire engines. Of course, we can see multiple angles that they are hitting this warehouse with water. They've been doing so nonstop around the clock, essentially ever since this fire started, and we've seen it continue to flare up time and time again.
California's governor issued a state of emergency yesterday. This is ABC News.
The Pittsburgh Speaker Series at Heinz Hall, presented by University of Pittsburgh, announces its 26-27 season. 7 evenings to deepen your understanding of the world around you, featuring Anderson Cooper, former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, historian Anne Applebaum, financial journalist Andrew Ross Sorkin, and former NASA Administrator Charles Bolden. The series is sponsored by News Radio KDKA and the Spanos Group of Raymond James. Tickets on sale now at pittsburghspeakers.org.
At EasyCater, we believe every workday gets better with great food. Like that morning status meeting, always better with bagels. And don't forget the coffee. Ops team working late? How about some Power Bowls to keep them going strong? Sandy's celebrating 10 years at the company. This calls for cupcakes. With EasyCater, you get a huge variety of favorite restaurants with tools to help meet dietary needs and stay on budget, all on one platform. So make every workday better with EasyCater. Start an order at easycater.com.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Partly sunny this afternoon, the high 77. Mostly cloudy tonight with rain and a thunderstorm later on, low 61. Mostly cloudy, humid tomorrow. A few showers and a thunderstorm, high 74. And then lower humidity Tuesday, high 77. For AccuWeather, I'm John Feerick, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
All right. Because I'm being kind today, because it's Father's Day. 866-391-1020. Ross has a 2-for-1 today. Ross, you don't get these coupons often, but I'm going to let you have it.
Okay. Back in the 90s, I used to work for the John Turner Detective Agency, and Basic Drive reached out and wanted a detective agency. They're on security. He also police officers. He even had to fight the state so his cars could have lights and sirens, and I never took advantage of that. But we walked the beat on Basic Drive in the summertime, and I stayed at 235 West Weapons. I found that was good enough, depending on what company or what I was doing. I always paid me with a 120 certified police officer. We worked did the community relations thing, got to know the parents, and I even convinced my partner one time, who was Caucasian. We did the separate thing, same thing quite well. But we showed by example. We didn't have the high-rises still up there, which I found out one day. One of my neighbors, his mother lived there, Mr. Glenn Ward at the time. We showed by example then. What you pointed out to Mr. Still back in the day had a name I familiarize myself. Sometimes when I watch the Point Park College documentary that Nanette Sleep did, and she's wonderful still at QED. But the Nate Smith documentary, Civic Arena, Negro removal. What you pointed out, Negro removal. And now, sadly, we were at that point. Now, look, we can spend all the handcuffs can come off the police since the Purdue administration. The handcuffs can come off. We could have a dedicated pod right now. I know they're kind of jail just for youth. We could open Sherman and expand it up in that complex just for youth. It will not solve the problem. Since you let me have some more time, I think I should just stop there. Real quick. Cynthia, I feel for you. I'm sorry that happened. I was just saying to myself, I don't know how you females hold yourself together. You have to do yeoman's work. Like I said, when I mentioned about that new cell phone law for drivers, looking at the images of what that 12-year flight, the images of that truck hitting her son's car, if he had to go to the morgue, we don't want people who can carry in this county. You know, plenty of porn, and now we have them. And yes, you're right, a taser, a strong or wrong hold, but it's a problem that starts with finances. But we have to lead by example. If they see the grown-ups in their lives kind of struggling to do right, and we know people are not right in the home. So we know it starts at the home, and the system is working against us. You go remove revenge. You remove revenge when you were doing your paper thing, and that's right now, again, and you're on the street, you don't say Negro. Thank you for the time.
Listen, Ross, I appreciate it. You cashed in your 2 for 1, and you're reflecting my point, which is if you're only trying to keep the streets safe by having an exhibition of force or power, you're not fixing the problem. You're shifting the problem. You're quieting the problem. Look, people may not want to say this, but the issues you're having with kids right now stem back to the economic issues from 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. It's compounded. No one fixed that. And I will continuously say this. When people pass policies, when people give grants, when people do initiatives to keep you just barely above poor, they either don't understand the problem or don't care about you that much. Now, I'm not saying it's both. It doesn't have to be both. Sometimes it is. But people need remedies that are going to have them stop being impoverished, not barely above poor. Now, you can be working class and not be impoverished. Doesn't mean you're rich, but it means you're not poor. Policies are supposed to transform people from one station to a better station, not keep you sustained at your station. Okay, look, we're going to get you affordable housing. It's going to be in a hood. Your kids are going to still go to the same schools that they're struggling with. And you're still not going to be surrounded by a whole bunch of supermarket opportunities. Bus line might be inconsistent, and it's going to be hard for you to get to work. But rent's going to be reduced. Okay, that's nice. What's the next rung on the ladder to success? Ladder to success? That's a rung, not rungs. This ain't a ladder. It's a small step stool. People don't need step stools. They need ladders. They need to climb. You can't climb a step stool. You just step up on a step stool. And we keep getting policies that create step stools. You're gonna have to bring entry-level jobs back. Those entry-level jobs are going to have to connect to level 2 and level 3 jobs. This is why I keep bringing up call centers, because call centers over the years used to work like this. You get a job, you answer the phone. You get good enough at answering the phone, you subsequently have the opportunity to learn how to be a level 2, level 3 specialist. You end up being a level 3 specialist, and then you could stop answering the phones altogether, and then you go to the next chain. If you understand the policies enough, or you understand the systems enough, or you understand the technology enough, and you want to sell it, you go into sales. Manage a team, you go into project management. Be a specialist, you go into being a specialist. But you can do something, but you can't do that unless if you have the initial rung that lets you in. The rung that's not going to sit there and say, do you have 7 certifications and a master's degree? You need to be able to climb. Nobody talks about how to allow people to climb the ladder of success in this region. So people stay where they are. And then these things compound. And then we have these cycles. There's going to be eventually a police crackdown on this stuff. And it's going to run the risk of being very tragic and being explosive. That's the challenge. That's the risk we're running. 866-391-1020. Dave, you're on KDKA. Happy Father's Day.
Hey, same to you, Lenny. Long time no talk. Yeah, I kind of concur with a lot of what Anthony said. I was raised a Democrat. My dad, speaking to him today, we miss him, and happy Father's Day to him and all the fathers past and present. But, you know, my dad was a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat, but he was one that when he told me when I was going out to vote the first time to vote straight Democrat, I didn't agree with that either, you know. And I look for, well, what is on the other side and what do they have to offer? But in the last 10, 15, 20 years, the Democrat Party, I just don't recognize it, especially the one that's running this city and this county.
Yeah, it's what you call political monopoly. It's when you have no challenge from the other side. It's when you don't have to promote ideas. It's when people vote for party labels and not personalities and politicians. I mean, and more so when people vote for politics and not leaders. Then it's just a matter of who has the most amount of money, who can run the most political ads, and who knows who in the muckety-muck class. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with knowing people in the muckety-muck class, but if you can't talk to working class people, you can't create policies that build a more robust working class that allows the working class to go to middle class, allows the middle class to go to upper class, and allows the impoverished the opportunity to become working class. Nobody moves up. And like I said, in this region in particular, and people, this is where people, you know, either know that I'm from this region or doubt that I'm from this region. This region has a tendency to lock you into where you are. People can't see people escaping out of where they were or where they are. I'll use my life as an example, Dave. People are so used to me doing a once-a-week radio show on KDKA. They're completely shocked that I have done any other media outside of this place, or that, heaven forbid, people in places outside of Pittsburgh know who the heck I am. You know, and so when I bring up experiences, they're like, whoa. Like, for example, we announced it on Larry's show on Monday. You know, the New York Post is going to feature me on July 2nd for their America 250 series. Now there will be some people here like, how the heck did you do that? Well, I've been doing stuff for 20 years. I just wasn't doing it in Pittsburgh. I am a native Pittsburgher. But I use my life as an example of it's so easy for politicians and people in the foundation world and in the employment world here to see people where they are, not see people where they could be. And when you do that, what ends up transpiring is they get locked in. You never create the opportunity for people to build. And if you never create the opportunity for people to build, they lock in. And once they lock in, Dave, they lose hope. And once they lose hope, they ain't got nothing to lose. And so, especially with kids that don't have their brains fully formed yet, guess what they do? They'll go out and wild out. And if they feel like, well, I might get hurt, I might die, I don't really care. And what have we been seeing on the south side? I mean, we don't even talk about the south side of Pittsburgh anymore. But what were we seeing on the south side not that long ago? Now we're seeing it in Market Square. Now we're seeing it in downtown Pittsburgh. I told people years ago, when you start seeing stuff on the sidewalks and people shooting in downtown Pittsburgh during the day, you have a serious, serious issue. And you can't fix it just with more police. You're going to have to fix it by way of fixing the rudimentary issue. And the rudimentary issue is, how do you help people go from being impoverished and barely above absolute poverty to having something that they can hope for and aspire for on a regular basis in their life? To me, that's what it boils down to.
Right. Well, it's been so hopeless these last, let's say, 10 years or so. You know, I went from being absolutely dead set against, and I thought Trump was laughable in like 2016. And I thought for the 2020 election, he was I got my years wrong. 2024 election, he was the best option we had. And I still believe that, even though it's been a circus.
And because, and Dave, I got to let you go. I appreciate you calling. Happy Father's Day to you and yours. Part of it is they look over and they go, okay, Joe Biden said he wasn't going to run, but he did run, and he's acting like there's nothing wrong, but we can see there's something wrong. Then he goes to the debate stage, and it's clear that there's something wrong, and then he leaves, and rather than letting other people run, they give it to Kamala Harris because they're scared about the backlash with black voters, particularly black women voters, and then she's also the one that wanted to do transgender operations for people in jail. No, I'm good. Oh, she goes on The View after eviscerating Trump in a debate. What would you change about what Biden's done, considering the inflation, considering this, considering that? She goes, nothing. I wouldn't change anything. No, okay, I'm good. That's how independents swung for Trump, despite everything that happened in 2024. Dave, you're not alone. I understand it. A lot of people understand it, and they will sit there and say, starting in 25, I didn't vote for Doge. I didn't vote for this. I didn't vote for that. I didn't vote for a war in Iran. But the lady from 2019 that said she was going to give taxpayer-funded surgeries for people to change their gender assignment while they're in jail, I couldn't vote for that either. Deacon, I get to you after the break. I finish up the show after the break here on News Radio KDKA.
All right, it's the weekend, and it's a great one, but I'll be back Monday. Can't wait. 2 to 6 right here. Colin Dunlap.
Every Tuesday morning at 7:20, listen for Inside Independence Health, a look at all things healthcare with the experts from Independence Health System. It's brought to you by Independence Health System. Expert care here.
Don't delay in getting that plumbing repair done. Call Palucci Plumbing today for all of your plumbing needs. From trenchless sewer repair and waterline repairs and replacement, hot water tanks, sewer camera inspections, to Pittsburgh body repairs, no job is too small for Palucci Plumbing. Owners Amy and Nick Palucci have been in business for 26 years, so give them a call for your next plumbing repair or replacement. Palucci Plumbing, 412-782-5050. That's 412-782-5050.
If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS, you need to hear this message. Being self-employed is tough. You handle your own income, your own expenses, and your own taxes. But the IRS makes it nearly impossible to file correctly unless you're a certified accountant. Unless you know how to deal with the IRS and navigate the tax code, you'll most likely run into a serious problem. Penalties, interest, wage garnishments, and even bank levies that drain your account overnight. Thousands of self-employed Americans thought there was no hope until they discovered a free alternative thanks to the USA Tax Network. People who have owed $10,000, $20,000, even $30,000 or more are now reducing or eliminating their tax debt after completing their free review. Explore options that may be available: payment plan assistance, IRS negotiation support, tax resolution programs, and financial hardship solutions. Don't let the IRS take more of your hard-earned money. Go to notax66.com now. That's notax66.com.
Paid advertisement. USA Tax Network is not a law firm, tax firm, or tax relief company. We do not provide tax advice or tax resolution services.
Hey, Mom, now that I have an after-school job, I think I want to buy a drum kit.
Okay, rock star. Let's look at your account.
When kids start making money, Chase has easy-to-use tools and expert bankers to help them learn how to manage it.
And next month, I'll buy the bass drum and the cymbals. Oh, and maybe some noise-canceling headphones for you.
Aw, you've thought of everything.
Help kids save, budget, and build financial independence, all with Chase. That's good for kids and good for parents. Visit your local Chase branch and get started.
Account subject to approval. J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
From backyard barbecues to homegrown herbs, the best parts of summer start at Lowe's. Right now, get 3 Fairy Morse 1.3 quart vegetables and herbs for just $12. Plus, get 4 bags of Miracle-Gro 0.75 cubic foot garden soil for only $10. Whether you're planting something new or giving your garden a refresh, now's the time to make the most of your outdoor space. Save more on what you need this summer at Lowe's. We help, you save. Valid through 6/24 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, let me go back to the phone lines before I'm out of here. Again, like I said, I will be here at the top. Not at the top, but I will be here tomorrow at, well, I guess, interesting. It's like right in the middle, kind of the middle. 8 to 9, Big K Morning Show. Top of the week is what I meant to say. On Monday, I'm here every Monday. Here with Larry Richard on the Big K Morning Show. He's sitting in this chair. I'm sitting over there. But I'm with him for an hour, so I will be doing that. I will be doing that tomorrow. So make sure you tune in, as you should be, 7 days a week, but particularly Monday through Friday on your way to and your way from work here on News Radio KDKA. Back to the phone lines, the Deacon in the Dormount. He is on the KDKA. Happy Father's Day.
Via the Southside Slopes. I called about what unadulterated horse manure I was listening to yesterday. Whenever you or McGinley aren't on, I just turn the radio off. But the guy just, honestly, God, the coward in chief, the felon in chief. The guy just said Trump was he was the best choice. That's that tiny matter of treason. In 2020, that was just a blip in the radar. When you man, the last call.
I understand what you're saying about January 6, 2021. I could not get down with that. I didn't look. I've said on the record, I've said on national television, they asked me in 2024, are you going to vote for Donald Trump in November 2024? And my response was, and it's true, whether people like it or not, I have never voted for Donald Trump. The moment Donald Trump said that he never asked God for forgiveness, he just figured he'd fix it himself, and he said that as a Christian, I said either he is not a Christian and he's lying about that, or it's something worse, and I just said I can't do that. And that is the stance I took since literally, I think, 2015. So, yeah, even in 2024, that compounded with everything from some of the stuff we found out about in 2016, some of the policies we got from 2017 to 20, the whole handling of COVID in 2020, all the way through to January 6, 2021. I understand your point.
They're talking about the kids and the police have the capacity to monitor Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok. They can, it's not easy, but they can be aware of some of the things about to happen. Secondly, males in particular, but the adolescent mind doesn't mature till they're like 25.
Yeah, it's 25.
The idea is to get them past the teen years till they're old enough to know better, and that's tough. I don't argue with that. But I don't know the service plan. What was he talking about? Whatever he was talking about yesterday. I'm not sure that's the answer, but I don't know there is a real good answer.
Well, the good answer is, again, people want parents more involved, but if the parents are stuck at that same age pretty much, and then the parents behind them were stuck at that age or dealing with the same impoverished issues and limitations, you have to fix the things that are limiting the families and the communities so that they can then go to the kids when they start hitting those ages, and you want the parents to police the kids versus the police to police them policing the kids. That's the bottom line. With teenagers, it's a pain in the butt, but you as a parent are the one saying you can't hang out, you can't do this, you can't do that. No, you can't eat this, you can't eat that, you can't do this, you can't. And it's hard. It's frustrating to do. I say this as a parent. However, it can be your job, or it could be somebody with a badge and a taser and a gun whose job it is. Now, there are consequences when it gets to level 2.
The latter doesn't always work out well.
No, it doesn't. So ergo, you want it to be at level 1. But in order to get that to be more the case, you can't put people on the periphery of society for generations and then tell them, well, it's your fault. I mean, even if you want to go back to Jim Crow and the poverty issues, whether it's with immigrants or with black folks, and listen, I say that because it's a little bit of everybody, but when you have together families and people could make a little bit of money and still be poor, it's different. Versus you have these communities now where there's no grocery stores, there's no corner stores, there's no ways to make money. They're locked out of being able to be entrepreneurial because of all the regulations. They're just there. And when you have that coupled with the scourge of drugs and alcohol abuse, there was no crack. There was heroin back then, but there was no crank. There was no crack. There was no fentanyl 100 years ago, 80 years ago. Compound all that.
They had lead pipe, and then they had crack. So they had lead paint, and then they had crack. And those were contributing issues.
But you got to have something very quickly. Go ahead, Deacon, because I have to get out of here. What were we gonna say?
I think I lost my train of thought. I did lose my train of thought. I'm sure it was critically important, but I'll let you carry the day.
Well, I always appreciate your phone call, Deacon. I mean, the bottom line is you have to fix the rudimentary issue, and unfortunately, in this region, you're gonna have to fix it in a way that doesn't look like what you've been doing forever. It's going to have to be transformative. And we have a tendency to want to do things the way we've always done things and then wonder why things continue to turn out the way they've always turned out. That has to be shifted. Anywho, that said, thank you to Ryan. Got him through first shift here. Thank you to all of you all. Thank you for having a wonderful Father's Day. And joining me here on News Radio KDK, I'm out. You can catch me tomorrow on the Big K Morning Show, 8 a.m. I'm going back to finishing this audiobook so that those of you that are going to buy a Venn diagram of one, An American Story, as found on my website, LennyMcAllister.com, as found on the Barnes & Noble website, as available for pre-order until August, when it will be available nationally. I'm going to go work on that now. In the meanwhile, I love y'all. I'll talk to you tomorrow. TCNGP.
The Big K Morning Show with Larry Richards.
I'm doing a porch concert in Morningside today where I'm going to be singing. You want you want a sample?
Yes, let's go.
How lucky can one guy be?